We're going to do that Tuesday. Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados right here on Thinking Critical YouTube. Your Saturday morning delight is here, and I guess everybody's celebrating a Memorial Day. And thoughts of the men and women who laid down their lives for us and the freedom that we have, at least in America. So it should be a good time. Hopefully everyone's going to have a little barbecue this weekend. But we're here to talk about some geek stuff, and we do have Dylan, the Real Comic Book Gamer, returning. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to talk about comics. It's been a bit. It's going to be fun.
So how long did it take you to get the goatee? Is that a month?
No, this is like 4 days. The tiny bit I can grow grows pretty fast.
Now you are up in the great Northwest, and you got to go to Seattle's was it Emerald City Con?
Yeah, I go to Emerald City Comic Con every year.
Very nice. Did you get to see any panels? Did you get to meet anybody? What happened there?
I got to meet Jimmy Palmiotti for the second time, which he's always cool. He's always great. Meeting him was great. He's very personable, sometimes to a fault. Like, but the person in front of me did a portfolio review for them, so it was just one person, and he was going through like every piece of art, being like, "Hey, so you should do this more with the black color on this isn't as good as blah blah." And then he was like going through every single thing. But yeah, he was really cool. Talking to him, talking about how he's had a pitch for a new Jonah Hex comic for a while that DC just keeps saying no to because of the god awful movie they made. So that's sad to hear. But yeah, he was definitely the highlight. I met him twice now, and he was awesome both times.
Man, what's it been since we had that Jonah Hex movie? It's been 12 years?
Something like that. It's been a long time. But yeah, he said it still haunts DC to this day. Like anytime he brings up anything with a Jonah Hex comic, they won't hear it because of how bad the movie did. Even though the movie, if you watch it, has nothing to do with Jonah Hex. Like he's an undead guy for some reason. That movie has mystical powers, and it's
they're still making Green Lantern comics after that awful Green Lantern movie, and they're still making Flash comics after that god awful Flash movie. So I don't understand why Jonah Hex is the one exception that they're like, no, we can't touch that.
Or maybe he's problematic.
Well, yeah, that too. Him being in Civil War and all that. But I think part of it also is because Flash and Green Lantern are both far more popular than Jonah Hex has ever been. For those movies, sadly,
it doesn't have to be that way.
I agree. Jonah Hex is one of my favorites.
The last time I think we saw Jonah Hex was during one of those Super Sons like maxi series, right?
Yeah,
but it wasn't even him; it was a robot.
Yeah, it was a robot. Yeah.
He's actually on the. Oh yeah, we get Ginny Hex, don't we? Jonah Hex was actually on the last pitch of the spec script that Lionel Castellani and I did for Justice League Unlimited.
Aaron super loud for anyone else? Just side note.
Yes. Audio is a little off because his computer isn't recognizing the microphone correctly anymore. We discovered this last ep.
Yeah, Jonah. The most impact Jonah Hex has had in like the past decade was Bendis with Ginny Hex, which makes me very sad. So that's the point.
Well, is that a Bendis character? Or is that a Mags character?
I guess you got a point. We got that one Looney Tunes one shot that was good though. That Paul Miotti wrote. That was fun. I talked to him about that. He talked about how he ripped like lines straight from like Looney Tunes episodes that he just put straight into the comics. That was cool to hear.
And that was the big moment you didn't get to see. I know you're a big fan of Hickman. Kyle Higgins.
Kyle Higgins. So Kyle Higgins is out there every year. This year he didn't have a panel, but I just ran into him on the show floor. He's just walking around. Like he didn't even have, I don't think, a booth or anything. But he's always. I don't know if I thought he lived in Chicago or something, but he's out here like for every single convention in Washington. Like for the Summer Con, I always see him. He's out here for Emerald City Comic Con. But yeah, I met Kyle Higgins several times, but I ran into him just on the show floor this time. I just saw him like walking by. It's like, oh, that's
Did
Kyle
you give
Higgins.
him like the bro shake?
No, because I just like saw him walking by, and it took a second. I was like, wait, that's Kyle Higgins right there. I didn't expect him to be walking around.
Very nice. So what's going on with the channel? Are you still doing lots of playthroughs?
No, just when I have time, I make stuff. But lately, I haven't had a whole lot of time. But I'm working on some things right now. Some videos I hope to get out within the next couple of weeks. So, yeah,
Are you excited for the Acolyte?
No. Oh God, every clip of that looks awful. Every clip, it's like here's people with the Force and lightsabers using kung fu, and I don't. It's so bad. And then they're just like fighting this one short little, like, I don't understand. This little girl assassin comes in and tries to kill them with kung fu, and then in return they use kung fu back. And it looks so bad. And it's the worst kung fu. It's not even cool looking. It's very slow and bad. And it has that Disney touch where nothing in the world looks lived in. You know, ever since Disney took over Star Wars, everything looks too clean and neat and nothing looks lived in. Acolyte is that to the like nth degree. It looks ugly. It's an ugly looking show.
If they wanted to do a kung fu Star Wars show, they just should have grabbed Donnie Yen when they had him and did it.
Yeah. Well, now he's essentially going to be doing that with the John Wick spinoff. So,
yeah. Did you get to read that Star Wars Visions manga that they did a few months back?
No.
Oh, dude, you should check that one out. That was awesome. That's like a
worth
Star Wars samurai.
Okay.
Very, very cool. Really enjoyed that one. So yeah, Star Wars is not getting better for you.
No, Star Wars just keeps getting worse and worse. They make all the wrong decisions, and it seems like no one there knows what to do. And now with Filoni joining, I know a lot of people love Filoni. I think he's very hit or miss, a lot more on the miss side lately. Especially, I'm a big fan of Star Wars Puck Commando. Back there's a big Star Wars Puck Commando poster. They came out in a video game in 2005, and since then have had some books and stuff, and rarely have come out. One of them is Scorch. He showed up in a Dave Filoni cartoon recently, completely out of character, and then he just murdered him. And so that was very sad for me because it's a character that hasn't really showed up much since 2005. And it's like, oh, he's here, and he's actually in canon because they erased all the canon and everything when Disney did all that, and then he just gets murdered. So, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Filoni, and he has a huge influence on Star Wars right now. So,
the good news, Dylan, is that nothing Disney does is canon. It's all apocrypha.
Yeah,
Embrace
I
this.
agree with that.
So Mandalorian and Grogu is not going to be the one that gets you back?
No, not at all. First 2 seasons of that was fine. It was okay, and season 3 was awful.
Yeah, that's too bad. But at least there's some decent comic books out there. You got to be enjoying the Superman stuff that's going on.
Yeah, Superman stuff's pretty cool. I'm enjoying what's going on, what Williams is doing with it. I don't think any of it has justified getting Phil Kennedy Johnson off of it, though. So that's my one take with that. But yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Superman superstar Gail Simone.
Yeah, I don't know who wanted that. I don't know who asked for that.
No. I'm kidding. I can't.
Williamson, I enjoy. I think he's a pretty good writer, but he gets too big for his britches a lot of time. I like it when he can keep things focused. He's pretty good, but him doing a large story arc has me worried. And I hated the whole Lex Luthor mother thing that he did. I thought that was so dumb. But aside from that, I've been enjoying.
I didn't like Graph and whatever.
Oh yeah, I thought they were lame too. Yeah,
like weird Howard Stern in bondage outfit, but in a wheelchair. Not exactly intimidating.
And they never really had their moment either. Like he kind of tried to do it, but they were always like to the side in the background. Then they had like a couple pages, and that was it. And it's like, what are even the point of these guys? And also, I hate the Lex Luthor's good again angle for the 5 millionth time. We don't need that. That doesn't need to be a thing.
Yeah, well, he's been doing pretty good on G.I. Joe. But Aaron Sparrow, did you get to read the Cobra Commander finale this week?
I did. We're going to talk about that, right?
Potentially. We probably won't make it to there because it's.
You don't think so?
Topic, but I thought it was weird. Like they just jumped forward in time 2 months or something.
Uh-huh.
We're all had an army and everything.
Yeah, it's like, and that's kind of like an interesting story to tell. Like that should have been another arc.
Yeah.
It's weird to go back and go okay, here's all the origin of him, and we're all invested in it, and we're like, cool, I like seeing how this is all coming together. And then you're like, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and now he's got an army. And you're like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess even in the G.I. Joe the movie, they just kind of explained it with, Globulus saying, and I sent you out with an army, Cobra Commander. And it's like, yeah, but you guys are all like biotech. How did you all of a sudden, have all this regular technology that everybody else uses? Like there's no explanation for it. And in the movie, you kind of accept it because it's a retcon, but and it's just used to jump forward. But here, like you were actually building the origin of Cobra, and I kind of wanted to see it.
I always assumed that they got their real technology from Destro.
Yeah, that's what I figured too. Is Mars Military Armament Research Systems for you nerds out there.
Not
Well, we
McCullough.
are getting a Destro a series from Dan Waters. Would be interesting.
James McCullen Destro.
So
I
how you
think
doing,
it's-
Sparrow? Everything good?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm not fighting hobos on the California streets, things are pretty great.
I get that.
You fought a hobo?
Yeah, I almost got stabbed yesterday. So, it's a shame that Jim isn't here because I'm sure that he was almost stabbed this week as well. But him it's by his wife. Me, it's by a crazy meth head hobo near a public library. But, it's my own fault. I was in California and I was near a public library, so I should have figured something like that would happen.
Man, so you're... Well, I'm going to steal from Eric. So you're a hobophobic.
Yes, I'm totally hobophobic. Because sometimes they try to stab you in the face.
So you were walking to the library to get your copy of Crisis or Heroes in Crisis or whatever.
And I wanted to go check out a copy of Understanding Comics so I can finally know as much as Heather Ontos about comic books.
I figured you were there for some Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville, but okay.
I'm sure that trade sold well to librarians.
And you stepped on the dude's needles or something? Did you move his dog shit?
No. Okay, so I got out of the car and I had my backpack with me and my iPad was in it, so I'm not going to leave it in the car. And so I take my backpack with me and I'm walking down the street and there's because I got to park a couple blocks away, and guy asks me for change. I tell him I don't have any change. Then he pulls a box cutter and he demands my backpack. And my iPad's in there, and I'm not giving it up. And so, all of a sudden, I just in my head, I just went cold, and I went all Walter from Big Lebowski, and I was like, "No, what's mine is mine." And and then the guy took a couple of slashes at me.
Did you call the police?
I mean, yeah, after he ran off, but after I hit him a couple of times and he ran off, he used my backpack as a shield, so I got a nice slice in my backpack. I got a nice little nick in me from where he lunged low and almost caught me, but not quite. And then he ran off, and you call the cops in California, and they're like, "What do you want us to do? It's not, our hands are tied. There's nothing we can do. We don't know who this guy is." You described a hobo to us. This is Gavin Newsom's California.
There's 4 million of them.
Yeah, it's like, what are we supposed to do?
So Aaron Sparrow had to slap a bitch.
I did. I didn't get this one. So this is the second hobo I've had to fight in California. Did not get this one in the Anaconda vice like the first one, but
You should have given him the GTS.
I would if I could have got a hold of him. Plus, I think he had too many weeping sores. I didn't really want to touch him.
Could be the next one, next video for Jackham bum fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Except it's like, okay, now we've mixed it up. Now it's just a regular guy versus a bum.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad that you're okay, and I'm sorry your backpack took one for the team, but
No, I'm glad his backpack took one for the team.
Better that
Look,
than
all
you.
that training, reading those Captain America funny books has paid off.
Yeah, it's funny because I like, as far as I remember, because I don't remember exactly how, it all happened so quick. I don't remember exactly how it started. But my backpack strap, it was over here, and it's got a big slice in it. So he went up like that. So if I didn't have my backpack on, it would have been through my shoulder here. And it's a pretty deep gouge in my backpack. So I posted it on Instagram if you guys want to see it. But yeah, that would have been my flesh.
Yeah.
So
chicks dig
back to
scars,
the
man.
job.
That would have worked out well.
It could if it didn't sever anything that I need
Exactly.
to.
Yeah, as long as you didn't get some weird infection.
Yeah, no kidding. I doubt that box cutter was clean.
Right. He
No,
probably
he's
cooks his
probably
works on
eating with that and
It
doing all kinds of weird stuff. Well,
probably has
California is
cocaine
lovely
on it.
this time of year. So
It really is. It's the springtime when the hobos come out. They're in full bloom.
Springtime for hobos is here.
So Aaron,
Oh,
are
that's
you
a little
using
close to something else.
the Blue Yeti mic?
Did I what? Am I using it?
Are you using it? Yes.
I am.
Is your gain turned up on the back?
Let's find out. No, it's right in the middle where it always is.
No, turn it all the way down.
Oh, no, wait. No, it is all the way down. I'm sorry. That's the other thing. I don't know what the other one is. But no, it's all the way down. Is that
okay? You're a little loud, but we experienced this the other day.
Should I sit further away? I can sit further away. Well, if that's
That's
helpful.
perfect, actually.
Okay.
Do you have an indoor voice, sir?
I've never been accused of that. No.
Next up, we do have Eric O'Sullivan, the man behind the Eric O'Sullivan YouTube channel, talking about food and comic books, lots of live streams.
Yes.
And I stole your homophobic joke.
It's all you. That's my gift to you. Thank you for being such a gracious host.
Why? I don't. You was sitting there. And I saw that you were muted and you weren't going to say anything. I was like, that'd be pretty good about now.
That's a good one. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty quick sometimes for a kid from the projects. How you doing?
How did you? What happened to your beard? Why do you look like a girl?
It fell off in the middle of the night because it was so wicked hot here in Boston, Massachusetts. We got a heat swelter here in springtime, and it fell off my face. But apparently, Dylan found it.
Yeah, it just grew on his chin.
Pick it up.
It was like, I'm a professional chef, and it's pretty darn hot in my kitchen. So I went crazy. I was like, I gotta buzz this down, and then I was like, no, you shouldn't have done that.
Do you have to wear the hairnet over your face when you have the beard?
No, thank goodness. No, yeah, they tried that on us once, but it was just like, we're a union shop. We were like, please don't humiliate the staff.
We're a union. We don't play that game, sir.
Yeah, I mean, everything's hot, everything's great, there. Yeah. And happy Orthodox Star Wars Day to everyone, especially everyone in the chat. It is May the 25th. That means on May the 25th, 1977, that's when Star Wars was released. No Bloody and New Hope, but also May 25th, 1983, Return of the Jedi was released. So today is, and you can see Wes's shirt too, it's Orthodox Star Wars Day, real Star Wars Day. Not May the 4th.
And that was also the day that my family learned that I was a cynical a-hole, even at the tender age of 5 years old.
Nice.
My uncle had returned from the army, and he was supposed to take me to go see The Empire Strikes Back, and it was sold out. So he got us tickets to Kroll, I'm sorry. And I walked off. He's like, "What are you doing? Get over here!" I said, "This is a jip, man. We're supposed to be seeing Star Wars." And he had to round me up and take me to the movie. And I love that movie, by the way. I love the Glaive. What a great concept.
But yeah, I mean, I got a bag of funny books from my local comic book store. Yes, my funny book bodega, my LCS. I'm a Wednesday warrior, I guess. And we'll see.
Any Star Wars in there?
No Star Wars in there, but I got Local Man.
Oh, very nice.
This is great. And the Local Man got nominated for an Eisner too, and I hope it wins.
That means nothing.
I know.
Did you get Rook Exodus?
I got Rook Exodus Part 2. Yeah, issue 2. Dude, Fabok's ripping this up. Loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving the world building and everything. Oh, yeah, Rook Exodus number 2 is really good.
Yeah. Anything people should know about the channel? You got anything hot popping?
I call it the summer season is coming up, and I got a new show. We're doing a spotlight on cinema. I'm going to lead off with some really juicy stuff. Andrei Tarkovsky, he was a Soviet era movie maker. So think about being the Coppola of the USSR. And then now you have Andrei Tarkovsky in your mind. He did Stalker and Solaris, and I got a couple of other of his movies. So we're going off the deep end right there with some juicy cinema, and just going through all my DVDs and Blu-rays and I'm going to do a movie show. I love movies. Yeah.
What's your favorite Blu-ray?
That's hard to say. Currently, right now, it's an import I just got, and I've wanted this for a long time. This is Macross Do You Remember Love, 1984. It's a 2-hour-long movie adapting 13 hours of an anime TV show. This is Robotech season 1, and I have an all regions player just to get import stuff, and I'm really happy. I love physical media. I love DVDs and Blu-rays, and let's focus on the good stuff, and that's what I'll be doing at my channel. Yeah,
I haven't seen a Blu-ray in 6 years since I moved here. We don't do DVDs and Blu-rays here in the Philippines.
Really?
There's not even a little red box or nothing.
You could buy them. They're pretty inexpensive. I mean, there's always deals on Amazon. And I mean, I love physical media. I worked in a video store in high school in the late 80s, early
Hollywood
90s.
Video?
It was a local place called Hub Video. It was a legendary South Boston place on I Street and West Broadway. And because you could get slush puppies there and your lottery cards and your Sunday paper and videos.
Very nice.
Wait a minute, Wes. You haven't seen a DVD or a Blu-ray, and you're in the Philippines. Like you're ruining my image of the Philippines. I would think on every corner there's like a little table set up with a guy on a corner with a bunch of bootleg, Blu-rays for you to peruse. Is that not happening? What is going on? Philippines is slacking.
Not where I am. Maybe Manila or something. Although when I was in Afghanistan, the dude that had all the bootleg DVDs that he would sell you of the movies that they'd recorded in a Russian movie theater was Filipino.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad that like you're getting close to my theory at least.
Huh. Who else we got? We got Doc. Last but not least, how you doing, Doc?
I am spectacular, sir. We got to record.
Did you go to
earlier.
the Hobby Lobby this week?
I did not. No.
Maybe
No, I
you're
did not.
going to be making a dress with your old lady now or something. I know you're domesticated.
No. I did a bunch of yard work, but I do that anyway because that's the problem with owning a house. you have to like clean it up outside. No, just.
But you also got a label maker.
I did, but that was because my fucking handwriting is terrible, and my divider cards for my comics, I can barely read half of them. You got to do it with Sharpie, and my fucking handwriting's terrible. I can barely read half.
Do you want to promise me that you don't have a piece of lawn furniture that says "Property of Joe" on the back?
Yeah, I absolutely have.
Come on,
Nope. I just have the only things I have used this fucking thing on is putting labels on divider cards, and the cool thing is I can put images on, so I could actually have like the Incredible Hulk logo printed onto the divider cards, so that way it looks a lot cooler than my just terrible handwriting.
That is exciting. That is exciting.
I mean, really cool label maker.
As a nerd, and I like being able to clean up the organization and making the presentation of my comic collection look better, even if it's just to me. That is the only reason I have any interest in this. But it's after I bought it, I was like, I like it, but it's only black and white. I wonder if I could get like a color one.
Get an upgrade.
I know. I bought one, and then I realized very suddenly that
I'm really into
like
labels.
I like it in theory, but it could be better.
There you go. Let's hear from the people. Lade Kramer says, Doc, does all his reviews of Comic Suffering, any chance we get Aaron and West to do an August review of Gotham City Sirens by Leah Williams?
Lane, you're a sadist, I swear. Awesome.
I don't know. Aaron's going to suffer through the Acolyte with me. That feels like enough pain to last a lifetime.
I have to say that I am morbidly curious about Leah Williams' Gotham City Sirens.
Maybe you can take one for the team and take that off of Doc's hands.
I'm
do that.
I'm morbidly obese about that. I'm all over that.
Oh, man. Are you excited for Gotham City Sirens, Dylan? I know you're more of a DC guy.
Yeah, I don't care about Gotham City Sirens at all. I'm good.
Who's drawing?
What if it was written by Kyle Higgins?
Then it could be good,
Oh,
but that's a different world. We're not living in that world.
Sure, Aaron and I'll take that one off of Doc's plate. He won't have to do the worst of the week that week. Callum, this isn't important. Does anyone care what Tim Sheridan says, or does he even if he rage quits, we all know he's playing the victim?
No, it's like one of those things where you say like I'm leaving Twitter, and everybody's like nobody cares. It's not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure.
And he did.
Or like
Wesley
Democrats,
Crusher?
every time they say that they're going to leave the country if a Republican wins, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. He's going to be at Fan Expo Boston and probably sitting at the same table next to his friend Jeremy Adams, whom I'm going to be overjoyed to see and talk to and bring a couple of funny books. Be like, Mr. Adams, can you sign my funny book? And then it's going to be Tim Sheridan there. And I'm like, you
going to give him a hug?
No, don't engage. If you're grumpy with these creators, don't even engage with them. They have the power to get you kicked out of a con. You're just, don't even go there. I'm
just enjoy the dirty looks that you get when they recognize you. I mean, that's what I do. And then I just smile. I just smile back at them, and I'm like, "Hi," like.
Maybe I'll wear my all caps gear and try to get a picture with Mark Brooks. No thanks.
Yeah,
I think
we're
you
getting
should.
Some snorts in there this week, aren't we?
I'm cracking up, yo. I'm having a great time. This is fun.
Lade says, so we're getting the last Halloween coming without sale. Did you see this one, Dylan? They're doing the third chapter in the long Halloween called The Last Halloween. Jeff Loeb writing without Tim Sale because obviously he passed away a couple years ago.
Did they say who's going to be drawing it, or it's not been announced yet?
If they likely did. I didn't read through the whole thing. I just wanted to make sure that Loeb was still part of it. But I do have the article right here. And it's obviously Klaus Jansson's going to be on it because he was in there. Eduardo Rizzo. It's a good artist.
Well, that's a good kind of, like, stylistically, that's kind of fits. I can see that. That's good.
But I really like the Long Halloween. I really like the sequel too. So
yeah, they're both great.
That one. Yeah. Actually, I think the second one might even be better, but obviously it's not as classic.
I agree. This is a Batman and Robin book. I like it.
Yeah. And the Holiday Killer is just a good name for a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mr. DC Comics, any thoughts on Ghost Machine books? Rook, Exodus, and Geiger are my favorite two so far. And will any of you be checking out Furioso Mad Max Saga?
Probably not.
So I know you're a huge Jeff
Already
Johns fan, Dylan. Oh, you already saw it? Was it good? Well, let's hit the
it's
movie.
good. It's a step down from Fury Road. I love Fury Road. This one was good, but not quite as good as Fury Road. Yeah, it's worth seeing. I think it's pretty good. Road Warrior's still my favorite though. Road Warrior's still the best. But Furiosa is good. If you like those movies, you'll enjoy Furiosa.
Does Hemsworth bring it?
Hemsworth's great. He by far has the most dialogue in it. He's fantastic in it. He's so good. And literally the first half of the movie is all his movie. Like, it's all him. Furiosa's kind of like just there. It's all Hemsworth for like the first half.
Man, now Aaron wants to go see the movie.
Yeah, I'm psyched. Yeah, I was already kind of on board because I just love those George Miller Mad Max movies, and I did really enjoy Fury Road. So it's weird to me that Anna Taylor-Joy is Furiosa because in no world does she look like she would grow into Charlize Theron. They're just very different looking, but she's a good actress, and
she looks like she's going to grow up to be a Camino.
Oh, Caminoan.
Yeah. She's going to turn
I can see that. Her final evolution. Yeah.
It's like no, press B to cancel. Press B to cancel.
she does, and this leads straight into Fury Road. Like, where it ends is exactly where Fury Road picks up.
Is there something going on where like we're just getting like an entire generation of actresses with eyes that are kind of far apart?
I've seen people post about that. Yeah,
it's evolution.
Actually, I think it's fetal alcohol syndrome, but
you are a god among insects.
You think it's because we got out of the food chain and like slowly like we're going to end up going back into it? So like we're evolving away from being hunters, and like our eyes are just kind of like going to the side. So because we're going to be prey in the future.
I thought T-Rex's eyes were on the side.
Well, like, dinosaurs are different. Birds are different.
Well, he's the ultimate hunter. What are you talking about?
Is he? Because there's a lot of theories that he's just a scavenger. I reject those theories, by the way. Yeah, it's like science keeps trying to make dinosaurs lame. It's like, oh, they had lips. Oh, they had feathers. Oh, they knitted, and they scrapbooked. These are all the things that science is trying to tell us to ruin dinosaurs. By the way,
Pluto isn't a fucking planet. Like, get out of here. You're obviously a moron.
Pluto's a planet to me, damn it.
Yes.
just like the EU is canon. Dylan, what's your favorite dinosaur? We decided we have to start asking people this because it's like you become an adult and nobody cares anymore.
And I have the generic lame answer, which is T-Rex. I just always thought the T-Rex was cool. And the Red Ranger from My Morph Power Rangers is my favorite, and his was the T-Rex. So Jason is always my favorite. So
nothing wrong with that. Sully?
The Diplodocus. He was a vegetarian pacifist. And, that was the evolution.
Definitely
the Diplodocus is the missing link to birds, where they took flight.
I'm going to always call it the Diplodocus. Fuck you if you say it otherwise.
I agree with Doc's pronunciation.
Diplodocus.
All right, Doc. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Also a solid choice.
Ooh. All right, Dylan. So have you been reading the Ghost Machine books? We've got Rook Exodus, we've got Geiger, and we've gotten Redcoats thus far.
Yeah, I've been reading them. I've been enjoying them. I think it's been great. It's been high quality. It's been fun. I hope they're able to continue this quality throughout because I've really been enjoying it. I really liked all of what's been coming out. I agree with what Mr. Comics said that I think that he implied, which is Redcoat's the weakest. But I'm still enjoying all three.
Yeah. Which one's your favorite then?
Geiger. I really like Geiger.
I thought Geiger, once they got to that first 6-issue miniseries and solved what happened with his family, and then they did the Geiger one shot where they talk about his family. It got a little stale there for a minute, but I'm glad they've done something different with the Atomic Knight guy. It's really made it more enjoyable.
Yeah, and I like learning more about that world, the factions that operate Vegas and everything.
Very nice. Callum says, did anyone know that they adapted Doom of Gotham into an animated movie? That says a lot about DC's marketing.
I had no idea.
Really?
No clue.
Yeah.
Was it good?
I didn't see the movie because I didn't think the comic was that great. I thought the comic was kind of mid. So, but yeah, I saw they made a movie, and I was very surprised that they made a movie of the comics. That comic's kind of it's all right. But there's a lot of comics far more deserving.
Yeah, they didn't do much marketing on that one. Let's give some shout outs here. We do have some people supporting the channel on the Patreon. I do want to say thank you very much to everybody that supports us over there. Sequence 909, thank you very much. He fights as the Palindrome, the one who maintains balance in the universe. We've also got Retro Man signing up. His hero name is Nostalgia, and he is the protector of the Silver Age. We've also got Captain Zackbeard, who fights on the high seas, or the high seas. Is that right? I think it's the 7 seas. As Tide Turner, and he protects Port Plunder. We've also got Jason Dunleavy, Psycho Storm himself, protector of Storm Reach. And finally, thank you very much to Comics Grail, who is the lore master, protector of ancient knowledge within comic books. And really appreciate that. If you would like to support us on Thinking Critical Patreon, we got lots of podcasts there. There's a link in the video description. And we should start talking about some Amazing Spider-Man here. He's obviously the flagship character of Marvel Comics. And we got Amazing Spider-Man number 50 this week. And the return of the Green Goblin. And I will say this, I'll throw this one to Eric first up. The main story illustrated by Ed McGuinness isn't all that bad, actually, this week. I think it's better than most of what's been going on, and certainly better than Gang War. Really good art. It looked good.
Yeah. I for one, liked the backup issues. Now, Amazing Spider-Man number 50. It's there's your milestone, but it's $9.99 for your floppy. It's 73 pages of story and art, and so it's more of an anthology. So you have about 4 different backup features, but you got this one with great art by the Dodsons, Rachel and Terry. It's got Black Cat in it, but they draw a killer Black Cat. And then there's this really nice one called Time to Make the Donuts, where it starts like this Spider-Man grabbing a donut from a food truck in Manhattan, and they got that's what Spider-Man does, and it becomes this charming little slice of life tale of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I think this issue for me overall it works pretty well. And then the weakest part for me got to be the Zeb Wells story, the ongoing story, because for me
the return of the Green Goblin didn't do it for you.
Kinda. I mean, I thought it was going to be Ben Reilly, because wasn't he strapped to that chair 2 issues ago? You know what I mean? Getting
the
like
Winkler
some kind of
device.
download. Yeah, exactly. And so I thought that was gonna keep Peter like Peter has to fight Ben Reilly's Goblin Spider, but no, they didn't go there. They went for the whole, as you said, the Zurinar. trigger, you know, and it's kind of like, yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
Did you notice that, Dylan? That he's basically just incorporating like Brainiac stories and now the Batman Who Laughs or Zern R into Spider-Man?
Well, as someone who hasn't read Amazing Spider-Man in like I don't even remember the last time, but I did read this issue for this. As soon as I saw the brain like get a metal body, I'm like, that looks just like Brainiac.
Brainiac.
Yeah, exactly like Brainiac. I
He's
didn't
not
know
the living brain anymore. He's the walking brain. Not a good name.
No, horrible name.
It's better than the dangling brain.
There are worse names out there, but yeah, it's a pretty lame name, the walking brain. It was cool seeing that McGinnis because like when I first started reading comics early 2000s, like he was everywhere, like he was the guy, and I hadn't seen him on anything forever. So seeing him on Spider-Man was cool. He really, especially with the splash pages, he really brought it. Like it was sick looking.
The fight was good.
Yeah, it looked great.
So are you coming back? Did Amazing Spider-Man
No.
50 bring it back in? No.
I didn't hate the issue or anything. Like
Yeah.
I thought the fights were cool and it was interesting, but it wasn't enough to get me like I really should get back to Amazing Spider-Man. Just like this is fine, and that was pretty book, but that was good. I didn't really know what was going on because I hadn't read it in so long. There's a brain. Doc Connors is working on the brain. There's some evil force that takes over Peter at the end that was buried, and Craven was checking on it. Like I don't know what's the dynamic here.
Apparently they put him in the Winkler device and took away some of his memories. He even forgot that he banged that one chick.
But the most important thing is what happened to Paul. That's what I was looking forward to with this. There was nothing with Paul. I was disappointed with that.
Now you'll be
You gotta
happy
go to
to
Jackpot
know
for Paul.
over on Jackpot and Black Cat, you'll get your fill of Paul.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
They
what I
moved
need
him
to
off
be
his
checking out.
ASO.
Oh, I've had my fill of Paul. Believe me.
Pause.
Man, is there a worse like new character in the last 10 years than Paul?
That's 10 years.
Is there a worse idea than the whole idea surrounding Paul? Like it's really bad. You want to know why Amazing Spider-Man's so bad? I'll give you the simplest answer.
Okay.
Nick Lowe has long overstayed his tenure as the editor of the Spider-Man books. Long overstayed.
Okay.
He's been there for like 10 years or something, maybe even longer than that.
Yeah, time to go.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy because the Nick Spencer ASM was actually pretty good. It kind of got me into Spider-Man again. You know, he was in charge of that, but it must have just been Nick Spencer. Because all the other Spider-Man stuff right now kind of sucks. Eric, you probably read Spectacular Spider-Man. It's a terrible book. The Superior Spider-Man thing wasn't very good.
It's a waste of Humberto Ramos's talent in a way. I mean, I love Ramos's Spider-Man. I mean, I love his work, but I mean, it's like just amazing. It's just this weird dynamic. There's this forced dynamic between Miles and Peter in this like buddy cop thing. It's not working. But geez, and that Superior Spider-Man. I mean, it's the best part. I think the winner of all the Spider titles, Spider-Boy, and Dan Slott's got me blocked on Twitter, so he's got it coming from me. I don't have to be nice to him, but credit where credit's due. Spider-Boy has been consistently entertaining. It makes sense too. I kind of like this character. Ultimate Spider-Man's okay. Yeah, I'm getting, but like it's in satisfaction. You know, Spider-Boy surprised me. I didn't expect to be. I didn't expect to like it.
You're a Bailey Bradley guy, huh?
Well, I like that he's kind of I think there's a heel turn coming in him, and he's going to be a big bad. It's because he's a ginger, and and he's but that's
there's a heel turn. He's going to be Kid Chasm. Aren't you excited?
Like that. Well, I mean, I just because he struggles with like power and responsibility. He's literally down on his luck. His Maslow's pyramid of needs are not satisfied. He could be using his powers to lead a better life for himself, and he's choosing to be heroic. So I feel like there's a tipping point.
He's got some venom into him too because he likes to eat people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I mean, there you go. You got some heroic struggle going on there. I just spoke nicely about Bailey Briggs for 2 minutes. About Dan Slott. Like, who the hell saw that coming?
Have you been reading the Ultimate Spider-Man book there, Dylan? What do you think about that one?
I read the first 2 issues. I enjoyed the first 2 issues, but I haven't read anything since. So, but I thought the first 2 issues were good, and I thought it was better than anything Spider-Man I had seen lately.
I've been waiting for Marco Cicchetto on a Spider-Man book. Like, he gets it.
Oh, he's so good. He kills it on everything he's on.
Yeah, it's nice to see Spider-Man where he's not like all skinny and still 15.
Yeah, that's something that threw me off about Amazing Spider-Man 50 was he wasn't skinny, but he looked super young. And I was like, how old is he supposed to be in this book? Because he looked really young. The way he was dressed and everything, and the way he was drawn, I thought he was super young in the Amazing Spider-Man number 50. But I thought.
What did you think of the reveal in ASM 50, where the living braid or the whatever it is like spits out some words and he says them, and the Gold Goblin costume appears. Then he says the third word, and then the Green Goblin costume's there. Like, what?
It's an allegory for your mother finding your nudie magazines.
As someone who has not caught up at all with what was going on, I was like, oh, we're gonna see the Green Goblin costume, right? And then it happened. So I was like, yeah. So I guess maybe if you'd been following, you're like buying into Norman being good, it might have been a surprise. But I hadn't read Spider-Man in a while, so I'm like, Green Goblin's costume's gonna appear, right? And then it did. It's like, oh well, figured that.
At that point, I still thought the story was pretty good. I was like, hey, this is pretty badass. This is something better than I anticipated. But by the end, when they gasp Peter to depower him, and then Peter gasses Norman to depower him, I was like, well, this is pretty stupid.
Yeah, that seemed kind of pointless. Just gassing each other back and forth. I did like Peter's like yelling at him though, being like, "You thought I trusted you for a second? I never trust you." I thought that was cool though. I like that when he was just beating his face in.
Yeah, at least he didn't get completely duped by Norman Osborn. I don't know why anyone ever thinks this guy's going to turn good. It's like Lex Luthor in Superman. I don't buy it. It's never going to work.
Yeah, no. But they keep doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, ASM's just been a rough ride for me there, Eric.
Yeah.
Just the art. I like John Romita Jr. back in the day, but he's kind of missing something right now, and there's no good story.
I think
you know what takes away
Johnson.
Oh, that too. I mean, Scott Hanna does a decent job inking Romita Jr. But one thing that just will totally pull you out of that Romita art. I mean, in a heartbeat. For me, it's the lousy lettering and it's the onomatopoeia, the sound effects, because they are cut and paste, dragged and dropped. I mean, and they have the most awkward looking kind of formatting sometimes, like just randomly dropped on top of this wonderful Romita Jr. art. And it's like, and that just like has the ability to suck me out of this. And I'm like, are you kidding? I just, you know what I mean? Like, that looks terrible.
I'm pretty sure. I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure most of the letterers at Marvel basically suck at this point.
I love lettering. I mean, it's such a background part, yes, but it can make it can pull you. It's shitty lettering can ruin. Let's say like a crowdfunded book. If I see a crowdfunded book that's got lousy lettering, I'm like, you needed to have done better here. I mean, no one pointed this out to you. I mean, how many times have you seen lousy lettering in a crowdfund? I mean, or an indie. That's one thing you can expect from at least the big two, that they have like somewhat really good lettering.
Well, a letterer, when they do their job right, you don't notice what they did. Exactly. And that's why they're kind of like the unsung heroes. And unfortunately, Darren Bennett and his team over at Andworld Design can't letter everything. So, you do get some lettering that's not of their level of quality. Well, but it just seems like, are we really like doing so many books that we've tapped out all the good letterers, or does it just not pay enough anymore to get the good letterers? Is it like writers, where it's like you can't get the best talent anymore because your page rates are so low?
Well, I think part of it is that most of these letters, I mean, all they did was go on and buy, whatever packs from Richard Starkins and Comic Craft, and then they never figured out how to actually use them. Most of them don't even know how to fucking resize them. They just drop them on. That's it. That's and they're suddenly a professional comic book letterer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can go and buy the Comic Craft, lettering packet thing, all their fonts, and drop shit onto pages too. Doesn't make it good.
No.
I was like, that was just a declarative statement, and like that no one disagreed with. Everybody's like, that's true. That's
the hashtag Doc is right.
And I feel like that's what most of, because look, if you're any skilled at these things at this point, you are not working for you are not paid well enough to work for Marvel or DC. Unless you're, I guess, Chris Elopolis. Everyone else, they literally just find whoever made the investment in buying the Comic Craft lettering book, and just and is willing to pay, get paid $4 a page, because they can knock out, because they're not actually trying, they're not even doing anything interesting, they're just dropping shit on top of the page with no real concern on how it fits,
right?
And they're able to bang out like 5 different issues a day, and for $4 a page, 22 pages, 5 books. Okay, now you actually make a somewhat reasonable amount of money.
Yeah, you're really good letterers here in the United States that have spent all the money on the Blambot catalog and everything that they've done all this time learning their craft. They're too expensive now. You can just go to somebody in India and pay them nothing, and and that's what these companies do. And so that's why you get shitty lettering. That's why they don't catch mistakes. It's why they overlap sentences, because it's not their native language. But it's all about getting people on the cheap. This is the global economy. This is what's taking money away from American workers, damn it. And lowering your quality of life, America.
You know what else I think is making Amazing Spider-Man bad? Because I don't have any skin in this game, but I've been reading them, and I will pick up the occasional issue. I've been reading Amazing Spider-Man literally all my life, as we all have. But for me, it's like, I guess the problem is with Zeb Wells. And the art is elevating what would be a mediocre story. I like Romita's art. I like McGinnis's art. Who else has been on this? It wasn't Phrasing, or Irving Fraser wasn't on this book. It's someone that looked a lot like him. Was it Howard Porter? Does anyone ring a bell out there? Help me out there. Chat knows everything. But it's Zeb Wells has he can tell 2/3 of a story. He can tell in Act 1 and in Act 2. But by Act 3, he always lands very flatly. It's so unsatisfying. And then he's got some fluff piece in between his major arcs. So he goes serious, fluffy, serious, fluffy. But he didn't land that first Spidey Goblin arc. When Peter was infected with the spear. I mean, the first 2 issues of that were really good. I thought so. I love Peter having a dark nature and putting back on the black costume and wanting revenge. It's just something like that.
Well,
and
I get where you're going with this, but here's the thing: it's Zeb Wells. He never got better. He didn't get more skilled. He didn't get better at execution. He didn't get a more competent editor, kind of reining him in or anything like that. He is still literally the exact same writer he was that did with Scotty Young, that New Warriors book pre-Civil War. He's the same guy that did an issue here or there during 3 times a month ASM. And all of his were forgettable. He is still that exact same writer. The only reason he's on a book is because he's the best of what's left. Because everyone else that was better is gone. That's it.
I think he's on it because he did the Hellions book that everyone liked.
Yeah, but he's on it because everyone else that's better left.
I wonder when Jerry Duggan's going on ASM, huh? You're gonna love that, aren't you?
Jerry Duggan was literally a nobody that, got carried along. The only reason anybody ever paid attention to Jerry was because Brian Posehn was writing the jokes for Deadpool. And the minute Brian left the book, that book went to crap too, and they had to start, basically turning it into a novelty book too. That's when they did the Deadpool wedding and all that other nonsense. And because his writing doesn't stand on its own, the same way that Zeb Wells, his writing never stood on its own. None of these guys, their writing can stand on their own, so they bring in some decent artists. I mean, partially as so that you can get distracted by how good the art is, or in the case of John Romita Jr., so you could just be flabbergasted at how much he has fallen off. And you're just kind of gobsmacked by that. Again, you don't notice the writing being subpar. He never had, if he was good at landing a story, he wouldn't have been the guy that didn't get a gig, like a real gig, until 25 years into his professional career at Marvel.
Do you think any of Romita falling off? I mean, obviously Romita's getting older. There is going to be like kind of a degradation. He's been hunched over the drawing table for decades now. But do you think that there's just any kind of like just lack of enthusiasm with the kind of scripts that the artists are getting now? Because I know some Marvel artists and they tell me all the time, it's like they'll put out something about like, hey, I'm working on this book, and then I'll send them a message and saying like, oh, the cover looks really good, and or your art looks really great, and invariably you get the message back that's like, yeah, story's not very good, didn't have a lot to work with, it's pretty bad. They're not getting things that inspire them to do their best work.
No,
and you think Romita has some of that?
I think it absolutely has some of it. When he was on ASM the last time, so during JMS, I believe.
Yeah.
He, for as much damage as all the things that JMS might have added to the Spider-Man lore, and that Dan Slott and others after him took and turned into a giant clusterfuck. It was an exciting book. It was doing new things. It was visually stimulating.
Yeah, it pushed to the envelope. I mean, like he really kind of, that's when you see his first style change. I mean, I grew up with ASM in 81, 82 when Romita's doing that, and his Uncanny X-Men, and then his Daredevil. So Romita Jr. for me mobs my childhood in the 80s. And then to come back to ASM in about 1999, 2000, 2001 and so he's got the inks and the colors. It was the digital thing had just blew everyone's minds. And that was but you could see Romita really adapted his style. And I just love that age of Spider-Man too. I mean, I have no problems with Romita's art. I know that people have, you can be like, oh, look at that. That looks really hammy. You're right. Yeah, sure. But it's Romita, and it's in that indelible style of his. So it'll work for me. I'm very forgiving of the clunky panels here and there because it always pays off. He knows his camera work that is second to none, man.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to, the writer has to inspire their artist. And especially an artist that's been doing it as long as, John Romita, he's seen everything, from start to finish. So, you pair him with somebody like a Zeb Wells, who's never going to write anything that is to the level of previous writers that he's worked with. That's got to take it out of you. It's got to just kind of, that's why we get a panel where it's supposed to be headbutting between Kingpin and Tombstone, and it should be really visual and brutal. And the best that Romita can do is kind of make them look like they're kissing because of everything else he has to draw on that boring ass page. He has to get all of this in. So where does he devote the real estate? It's a tough call. The artists at Marvel are in a really bad spot. because they're not getting to draw anything that's fun or that excites them.
Yeah, we're going through Kick-Ass 2 right now with obviously John Romita Jr. on it, and that book is exceptionally brutal, and he makes it very, very gory. Like, it's actually kind of gross at some points. But
just even his Daredevil run, when Daredevil would get beat up and, you know, his face would be like all knobby and swollen, and it was just like, it was within the comics code, but you would still look at it and go, ooh, you know, it's like he made you feel it.
yeah. So Doc, did you read ASM 50?
I did not have the opportunity. I didn't have a chance to really read anything this week. So I it's hard for me to really add much commentary on this.
I was going to let you have the last word, but Doc didn't even read it. Let's move on.
You didn't do your homework.
Look, I
reviews.
didn't care enough.
Well, I sent you the review copy.
No, I get that. My point was, like, I couldn't even. I have gotten so checked out from Amazing Spider-Man because of this run that even whenever I see like the review copy literally gets dropped in my lap, I'm like, I'll get to it.
All right. Well, Tommy reviews Max and Heather Ontos were at a local con by me last week in Jersey. I only went to pick up my Grimlock commission by my buddy, but my God, it was cringe. I'm sure the lines were going out the building.
I mean, you could have seen Joe Corallo though. He was at that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was at that show, and I was at I was at Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario.
Oh, cool. You ever come
Ontario,
to Boston,
Canada?
No. Everybody says that. Everybody's like, you know, like I said something about like, oh yeah, Ontario, because it's not that, you know, it's not that far of a drive for me. And people are like, I didn't know you were. I thought you were in California. You're in Canada. It's like, no, there's an Ontario in California. It's a good show. It's a small show. It's organized by Mike Sigliano. He always brings like really great talent. You know, just speaking, Dylan, of Jimmy Palmiotti, I got to catch up with him, you know, for a few minutes there. You were absolutely right. You know, I don't always agree with Jimmy's takes, which, you know, not a big deal. Not everybody always agrees with mine. But Jimmy is always a class act, always a nice guy, always willing to stop and talk to you. He is the good guy Greg at Comics, man.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's always got his hair impeccably sculpted.
Well, he was wearing a hat on this day, so I don't know, Wes. He might have had the Wes haircut that you had a few weeks ago, and was just like, nope, putting the hat on.
Well, thankfully, my wife came to her senses and was like, you need to shave that off. Galb says, I liked it, especially if you love Hellboy. The guy from that show, Grimm, he's a good Batman and does prove Batman can defeat eldritch threats. So
is it David?
Imagine this is Gotham Doom.
From Grimm, is it David Gantoli or is it the other guy, the really tall guy that plays Batman? I'm curious now.
All right, I'm gonna do a little David Gantoli Batman.
David Gantoli, that's cool. I mean, either one would be good. But because they're both really nice guys too. But David Gantoli, man, he's a class act. Got to hang out with him at Rose City once, and we both got dissed by Commander Sisko from Captain Sisko from Deep Space Nine. So
very nice. The guy that plays the Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad movie is Mr. Freeze.
Oh, David Dastmalchian, I think is how you pronounce it.
Something like that. I'm not going to try.
Yeah, he's good. He's been in a lot of Batman projects. You know, he's even the crazy guy in Dark Knight. You know, one of Joker's acolytes.
Very nice. Calvin says, I haven't read any of this, so I'm just going to wait for Black Cat is gay at the last minute because she's only appears in fucking Pride issues now.
Oh, she's already gay.
That already happened. And what was it? Black Cat and Jackpot or Jackpot and Black Cat or whatever that book is.
I think the first person that did it was, I think Kevin Smith made that retcon.
Yeah, back in
Evil That Men Do?
Yeah.
Man, you guys are nerds. Kalichioki didn't even know who Zeb Wells was until ASM. He'd written Spider-Man before, but he's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wrote.
He did the Carnage stuff.
He did some Carnage stuff. I recall him again back in the day doing. He did the New Warriors series that made them reality show.
That kicked off Civil War. Yeah,
that was the lead in that ended up like after that book got canceled after 6 issues. They used that premise to like about 6 months later for Civil War. It wasn't a direct lead in. They just like took the idea that was introduced back on that. And the only reason I picked that book up is because Scotty Young was on art. This would have been very early in Scotty's career. So.
Yeah, people hadn't like completely taken to Scotty yet, and they didn't appreciate him yet for everything that he would become.
No, they didn't. And later he got into those weird the baby variants that I had no real enjoyment of, but other people seem to.
They made statues of those, of like all those little baby versions of the characters, and
they're called Funko
they sold
Pop.
all. No, they actually had like full on statues that Diamond was producing, and they sold like really well at first, and then quickly tapered off. I guess people realized like I don't need like 50 of these. What am I doing?
Next up, Calvin says, I think an artist working with Tini must be bored out of their minds. All the talking. I remember when Vito was working on that Static book, and the artist Nicholas Draper Ivy was like, I really wish I could draw some action. I'm so bored illustrating people talking to each other.
I feel like that's the way most writers or most artists see it these days. They're just fucking bored. Because all of these people are so goddamn boring.
Yeah, but they don't have label makers, Doc.
They honestly, they should. It will make their lives less stupid. Can
you imagine being an artist trying to parse a Danny Lore script? If that script reads anything like one of her tweets, like they must just be like, what do I even do here? What is this supposed to be?
Yeah. I'd be like, I'm sorry. I need a fucking Rosetta Stone here to understand illiterate moron to English translation. Gibberish to English. I don't know how half these people do it.
Next, Cal wants to know more about what happened. Tommy Reviews talking about when he went to that Comic-Con in Jersey with Mags and Antos. I do not have the answers to that. Drawing Tall. Has anyone on panel read The Cheapening of Comics by Bill Watterson? He knew way back then that commercialism was killing comics as an art form. It's why he never signed merchandise deals for C&H.
I've never read it. I knew his thoughts on it. I don't entirely disagree with them because while as much as I would love to have a fucking Hobbs, and I have one that's not exactly, but goddamn close. It's when you start getting into too much commercialization, you end up where your characters become just IP.
Right. I mean, he probably looked at his like contemporaries like Berkeley Previd and the guy who did Garfield. You know what I mean? Just like, here, you licensed out you have Opus dolls, you have the Garfield suction cup doll put in the back of your car. I mean, that was everywhere in the 90s. I remember like the only kind of Calvin and Hobbes merchandise you could get were bootleg t-shirts you would get at colleges in the 1990s, where you see Calvin and Hobbes, at frat parties and stuff.
And Calvin being on the Ford logo.
Being on the logo.
Yeah.
Which was all bootleg because it was none of that was ever licensed.
All bootleg stuff, yeah. Never. I mean, like, think about it. Having a Hobbes doll, the doll, Calvin's doll itself, the stuffed animal. That it never happened.
I know. I have one that's goddamn close that I found at a fucking Target a few years ago. But what I mean by that is your product can never change. Once you've started down the licensing and the merchandising and the everything, it all becomes IP. It all becomes static. You can't really change it. You can't evolve it because now you have rights holders and that you have to keep satisfied all the time. And I mean, I understand to a degree. I mean, we are one of those, we are a channel that routinely bitches about the ways that they change our comics and our characters. So there is some irony to this statement, but at the same time, now it becomes, I guess, stakeholder approved changes are the only changes that are allowed to be made.
Yeah, you look at what happened with TMNT when they went and signed over all of that stuff, and they certainly made a lot of money. But TMNT will never really be what Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird intended it to be.
It's so far away from the Mirage comics, which was serious. It was like American manga. It was deadly. I mean, Leonardo takes off Shredder's head. I mean, that's so far from the cartoon.
In fairness, it was also partly parody of Frank Miller's Daredevil. But
look, I hope that Doomface is successful enough that I can merchandise the hell out of it. But everybody has arcs, and that book is going to change as it goes. If people support it and it continues to go, the characters will change. There will be there will actually be stakes. So. But do I want you to be able to buy a Doomface action figure from McFarlane Toys? Hell yeah, I do.
Once Disney buys it from you, though.
Oh no! I will never sell out to the mouse.
Anna DuVernay's kneel before Doomface. Think about it, man.
What's the chick that made fucking Eternals? That chick will make the Doomface movie.
Right? It'll be like, what if Doomface were a brave woman of color? Well, yes. Lexi is a brave woman of color. It's like, yeah, but what if Doomface was?
And then they were lesbians together.
Yes.
All right. Mr. DC Comics, fights in comic books are way too short. I couldn't agree more, Dylan. You build up for 4 or 5 issues to this big confrontation. It'll be over in 3 pages so they can have an epilogue leading you into the next story.
I agree. We kind of had that with Superman issue 14. We have a Lobo versus Superman fight. It's like, okay. And then it's over in 1 page. So that was kind of disappointing because they had built up to the fight between that group.
Oh, that was the worst. Lobo. In Action Comics, when they finally start fighting, they're like, nope, we're going to go to this planet.
Yeah.
Like,
and Roth was great. The book looks awesome. And then what you want to see, you cut away from. It's like we had been building up to this showdown. They were going to meet them here, and then it gets flipped on its head where he's going to fight Lobo, and then that doesn't even really happen.
Yeah,
so,
three solid issues of my run on Miss Meow were one continuous fight. So there are people out there trying to give you what you want, people.
Yeah, you still get it occasionally, but
yeah. Tommy Review says nothing really happened by having those two in the corner trying to walk by was like watching The View. Anyways, anyone read Get Fury? It's been good. I love the first issue of Get Fury. That thing was phenomenal.
Gave me hope in comics again that you can go there.
Yeah, that was decidedly an adult book. That was pretty good. Really, really good setup and quite gruesome. Did you get to read that one, Dylan?
I haven't checked it out yet. You
should definitely check that one out.
I want to. I heard it was good, but I haven't been able to pick it up yet.
Basically, you've got Frank Castle in Vietnam. Nick Fury has been picked up by the North Vietnamese army, and they've sent him in to go kill him because he's got too many secrets.
And it was something that I wasn't expecting, and I didn't know I really wanted it until I looked at it. I grew up reading war comics, like World War II comics, like Sergeant Rock and Haunted Tank and stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a decent war comic. I missed something just like this. I really, really appreciated it for what it is. It's a balls out war comic. That's some good stuff.
Did you read Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead?
Yeah, I enjoyed the heck out of that.
That was a good one. Yeah, good call there. Get Fury is a really good book. Next up, we have HH and the boys from Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Thinking Critical team from Comicapalooza, Houston.
Nice.
Keep it tuned to Thinking Critical. As always, support them. Volume 4 Calico manga hits Kickstarter Tuesday. Sign up now.
I hope you're okay.
Absolutely.
I heard the weather got really bad down there, and for our fellow panel mate Josh McDonald and everyone in that area. You know what I mean? Stay safe. Yeah. I hope you're okay.
By the way, I love that HH just continues to innovate, with in ways to bring you Here Comes Calico. The fact that he's doing the manga editions now is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And I'm totally going to rip you off, HH.
Exactly.
As you should. And the dude, nobody works harder than HH. He's literally out almost every single week at another Comic-Con.
You deserve Whataburger fries.
Is that what you would give him? You wouldn't give him the tenders?
Well, he's a pescatarian. He doesn't eat meat or chicken. So I'd be safer, sharing my French fries with him if he wanted.
Are we sure that those Whataburger fries aren't fried in animal fats?
Ooh, good call. I mean, we'd have to check that out. Maybe
you might need to take him to Pretentious Bread and get the cheese soup or something. But that probably doesn't work anyway. I don't know. Very good. Hopefully Houston is treating well and you're getting some good Texas barbecue. Nerd says the Yara statue from Eric July Rippaverse looks incredible because McFarlane Toys is making them. But due to recent events and recent statements made by Eric, I think he's an absolute scumbag.
Oh, come on. He's been a panel mate of ours. Let's be nice.
I mean, opinions vary. It's just everybody's got different opinions on everybody. Some people like EVS, some people hate him. Some people like me, some people hate him. Everybody loves Wes.
Everybody
That's
loves
definitely
Wes.
not true.
True.
Definitely not true. But every interaction I've ever had with Eric July has been super duper positive, and he's a super friendly guy to me. And I try to judge people by the way that they treat me. So, and I think it's cool that he's got to deal with McFarlane Toys, and I think it's cool that McFarlane Toys would do that.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think it gives hope to every independent creator out there that if you do something that's popular enough, and maybe a guy like the Todd Father will come help you out with some cool merch.
I bet you he's not just doing it for charity. I bet he makes a little.
No, I mean, well, look, Eric, has made money on his campaigns. I'm sure he's. I
mean, didn't he have this as a stretch goal? So
no, that's a different statue, I guess.
Okay,
is what he was,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
very
good
nice,
to know.
But very, very cool news. And I bet you the statue is very good because McFarlane Toys does awesome statues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we got Wake Gray from Wakizashi's Tea House. Best wishes to you all. I'm at a teacher's party. This dude's probably hammering sake by now. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go hang out with Gray.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Who
Wes,
would want to?
Wes, you're close to Japan. You could probably. What about Osaka or Tokyo Comic Con? Is that something you would never do?
Yeah, but I would. Japan's really expensive, man.
I was gonna say it must be. I'm just like
my wife ain't gonna let me go to Tokyo without her. And then if I take my wife, I gotta take the boys. The next thing you know,
the next you spending $8,000.
You mortgage the house. They want to go to Disney World Tokyo. Yeah.
We're fully focused in on making it to Texas in June. Well, actually, Kansas City, and then going down to Texas in June. That's where all our efforts are. But I would love to go and hang out in Japan. Of all my Asia tours, and I got to go to a lot of places, I didn't really get to go to Japan. I got to go through Japan, but I much more explored Korea and obviously here in Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, a place like that. So hopefully you were enjoying your party, sir. I bet you're having a good time, and I just got a feeling Gray's probably about 2 or 3 sheets in the wind by now.
I hope so. I'll join you for brunch after this, kid.
Let's move over to DC Comics. They've got their big House of Brainiac event going on. And thus far, Dylan, I think it's been really good. I thought the first issue really knocked it out of the park. The second issue is still strong. The third one, maybe not as much. And then I think the fourth one got strong again. But we got the Brainiac Queen finally. And the Brainiac Queen is quite enormous. I wasn't expecting her to be that big.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool so far. We've got some great artists on there. I like what Williams is doing. But again, I'm a little hesitant because when it comes to big events, I don't think Williamson does the best. But so far, it's been good. It's cool seeing a Superman Central story. I like what's going on so far. It's definitely worth checking out. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Seeing all different versions of Brainiac is pretty cool too. So yeah, it's been good.
That is the big fear with Williamson. He does not stick the landing often.
Yeah. Yeah. He's much better when he's just like focused on one character instead of just trying to do
even like Flash
War
didn't really work in the end. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths didn't really work in the end. I would say Night Terrors didn't work at all. So this is a big one for him. I thought he nailed Duke though. The ending of Duke was awesome.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying what he's done with G.I. Joe so far. I thought Duke and Cobra Commander have been both really good.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, guys, do me a favor. Go on Twitter, message Silvani Art, and tell him that buying the Energon Transformers trade is not enough. He's also got to get into Duke and Cobra Commander, even though he's not a G.I. Joe guy.
He will be after those books.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, definitely go out there and get James Silvani onto the G.I. Joe bandwagon.
I mean, Williamson got more coming too. He's doing Codename G.I. Joe and upcoming. Is that an ongoing series or would that be another 5-issue series? Do you think? Do you know?
I hope it's ongoing. I hope it's like the regular G.I. Joe book.
Yeah, that would be.
It kind of makes sense that it would be. So what do we think? Do we think that those two little kids, Otho and Othel or whatever, died when they were in that daisy chain that were creating the Brainiac Queen there?
I don't think they're dead, no. I think they're still alive.
Wasn't it weird though? There were some like non-powered characters in there. Like the lady that has the gun for a hand does not have superpowers like Superman.
Was that Mercy?
Well, yeah, she's like an android. Yeah, Mercy. Okay. Yeah.
Shouldn't that have fried her out?
You'd think. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot in this. There's some things like they just capture Superman simply by putting him in chains that are formed in Apocalypse, which seemed kind of lame. That was kind of like a lame way out of that fight. He's like, these chains were forged. Everyone else is in like fancy depowered chambers. Superman's just in chains.
Did they get that from Unchained, the new supervillain himself? See, I feel like I missed a step there.
No, it was just Williamson needed to get Superman from point A to point B, and that was the quickest way, I guess.
Yeah, there was just one line about that, wasn't there?
Yeah, literally, General whatever his name is was like, "Hey, these were forged in Apocalypse." Yeah, it's like wow, because they made a point that Superman's like not messing around right now. Like his first battle with Lobo took all of 3 seconds because he wasn't messing around. I was like, Lobo, this is serious. My children have been kidnapped, and then he gets chained. He's like, "Oh no, I'm chained," and that was it.
The Lobo thing is the one thing that really doesn't work for me. Like he specifically wiped out his entire race because he wanted to be unique. And now he's just like willing to go and lead the team.
I agree. I think that's stupid. And also that's something that happens with every single last of their species character that's really annoying. Like Superman last on a Krypton. Not really. There's a billion other Kryptonians. Master Chief is the last Spartan. Not really. There's a billion other Spartans and so on and so forth. It's an annoying trope that constantly happens where it's like, this character's cool and unique. They're the last of their species. And it's like, but we kind of want to introduce more of their species back in. And I hate when it happens and it constantly happens over and over and over and over again. And now
it also kind of went against the lore of Lobo and the Zarnians. That they were like super peaceful or whatever.
I was going to say it becomes what Doc said. It's now IP. So, hey, Master Chief is cool. What would be cooler? More Master Chiefs.
Yeah, and then just ends up diluting him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's annoying. But yeah, Lobo turning, you're right, didn't make any sense at that point. And also it's kind of weird that Superman was so caught off guard by it too. It's like you didn't expect Lobo to maybe turn on you at some point. But yeah, it really didn't make sense for him to just be like, yeah, this guy's definitely not trying to dupe me here. He'll let me take over his band of boys after this. It didn't make sense.
So we know Brainiac Queen is going to be part of the Trinity of Evil along with Batman Azur-Anar, as well as Amanda Waller.
Uh-huh.
Are you more on board now that this is kind of working out and that you've finally seen Brainiac Queen? Are you excited for Absolute Power?
I'm still not excited for Absolute Power, and I hate Failsafe so much. Failsafe is like one of the dumbest things to come into Batman in like the past few years. I hate Failsafe. That's what made me jump off of Zdarsky's run initially. Was Failsafe. I just think Failsafe is so stupid. Batman just built this unbeatable robot that no one, not even the Justice League, can take out. And then he's constantly around. He doesn't go away. I hate.
So you haven't been reading Batman lately?
No, I haven't been reading.
It's like the big thing for like 3 issues is everyone is confused about whether or not Failsafe is really Batman. Like the news are confused, the mayors are confused, the entire Batman family is confused, and Damian Wayne believes it is Batman. And I'm going, they've already got their asses kicked by a robot version of Batman. Why would they think this is really Batman?
Because it requires you to be absolutely retarded for the plot, because plot reasons.
Because the story needs to happen.
Because the robot identifies as Batman, they have to respect his bat nouns.
Well, you guys have all seen Pitch Meeting, right, with Ryan George? It's like, but why does this happen? Because I wrote it in the script. But why though? Because it's on the page here.
Yeah. The all this is Chip Zdarsky trying to do the Batman protocols again. Remember they killed Wonder Woman way back in the day? Yeah, that's this.
You know what I'd like
robot this time.
What I'd like to see, actually, that Failsafe has a failsafe. This is my pitch. That Failsafe is built on the chassis of PunchBot. And we get PunchBot back by the end of it. Wouldn't that be awesome?
No, you just need to bring in Magnus Robot Fighter, and it'll take care of itself.
Oh, good idea.
PunchBot's been great, though. Batman Offworld is definitely the highlight of Batman right now.
Yes, agree.
Should they make a PunchBot and Batman spin-off series?
Yes,
or Batman and PunchBot, where he's like Robin?
That would be cool. Maybe he becomes Robin the Toy Wonder of the 853rd century.
Exactly.
That's a DC 1 million reference, kids.
So I'm confused about this. Do you think that Batman Offworld is in continuity, Dylan?
Yes.
Probably. It seems like it, but I wouldn't be
supposed to be.
surprised if they randomly said it wasn't. But yeah, I think it's in canon. At least that's how I've been reading it.
It keeps getting delayed, though, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish they had some more consistency, like a style guide, like kept the Batman '89 logo, like Dan Mora does on World's Finest. If they're going to do flashbacks, they should have the exact same appearance of that uniform every time. If you're doing like this year 2 story.
Another thing about Absolute Power I don't get is Amanda Waller is supposed to be in charge, and then Brainiac Queen, who's absolutely enormous and very, very powerful and is consuming all this energy, is supposed to be subordinate to her. And also Batman Failsafe with Zern-R on its head is supposed to be subordinate to her, but we've already seen this Failsafe character defeat the entire Justice League and the entire Batman family single-handedly. Why would they ever want to work for her or need to? Like, that's something I don't get at all.
Because of what Aaron said, that's how they wrote it. That's why.
She needs to be the big boss.
That's literally it. Because there's no actual reason for it that makes any sense.
Amanda Waller has their sex tapes.
He has a TV show coming out. So
Amazo, I saw you with Rosie the Robot. We have you.
Did you see that we're going to be? Sorry.
I was going to make a joke about Rosie having to buff out her chassis afterwards because there's a reason they call him Amazo. But
did you see that they're basically kind of recreating, I guess, Dark Knight's Metal, to where you had Batman as different versions of heroes, but now it's Amazo is going to be every single hero in the DC universe?
Yay!
Task Force 7.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So all the heroes are going to be powered, but there's going to be an Amazo Aquaman that torments the Aquaman family, and Amazo Batman that torments the Batman family, and Amazo Superman that torments.
What's an Amazo Batman? A rich
Brainiac,
robot? Like what? That doesn't really.
Yeah. So while I am enjoying this House of Brainiac, and I think it's worked out really well, I'm also not looking forward to Absolute Power.
Yeah, because Mark Wade's writing it, and you're off the sauce.
I am an anti-Mark Wader now.
Oh,
he said he wanted the industry to burn.
I just want him to burn.
Oh my goodness!
Anyone to burn.
Listen, I mean,
Minecraft.
If you guys enjoy his writing, he is a very good writer. Unfortunately, he's just a very sad and bitter. It's just weird. It's like I wish that some of the heroism that he is able to write onto the page, I wish that he would incorporate it into his own soul.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So we've got 2 more issues of this House of Brainiac.
Mm-hmm.
You have made the terrible decision to read the Power Girl tie-ins on purpose. You bought these books.
I bought them, man.
What were you thinking, Eric?
Well, I'm a sucker for Kara Zor-El's boob window. First and foremost, I am just a man. All right, a red-blooded American man, and just like, you know, I've always liked her design. One could say Power Girl is probably, if you're allowed at, you know, of any age to have a crush on a cartoon besides Jessica Rabbit, you know what I mean, Power Girl would always had it going on. But it's Leah Williams, and it's just this. It was terrible, and the art's terrible too. And I don't mean to be slagging on creators. It's just more of like, oh my man, I thought this was supposed to, you know, be a robust tie-in. It says so on the cover, on the trade dress. I'm a big fan of, like, you know, sometimes like you can get into a tie-in. You buy the tie-ins. You want them to have this complete story. You want to have a little collection. Do you put that between issues 3 and 4? You know, I would in my long box. So there's fun to be had here, but there was no fun in that issue. None. Not if you're a boy, I guess.
No, it's just there was some teenage Zarnians that hid out in a dumpster.
Oh man, and but yeah, I kind of hit the wall on it. I got the House of Brainiac one-shot special, and I'm liking Williamson's work on this. I've been getting Superman, so I'm reading Superman. And Superman's on my pull list. Green Lantern's on my pull list. And Green Lantern has a really decent tie-in. So I'm already getting, like, I started picking up Action again because Williamson was writing it, and I thought I was in for House of Brainiac, but the Power Girl and the one shot turned me off. I did not get the last issue of Action. I was like, this is just all wheel spinning, just leading up to absolute justice or absolute power, and I'm just, no thanks. I'm done. I tried. I did. I tried.
Mark Russell ruined it for you?
Maybe.
That's why you got to listen to this, man. We've been trying to warn you on this stuff for years.
You know, yeah, I know. Thank you so much. You know, I did listen, but that was Mark Russell had like a story in an anthology in that one shot, because the other one was a Williamson story too. So, and it's like you have to keep it in, like, if you're in for the tie-ins, go in for the event. I like these mini.
You got to find out the Council of Light. I guess that was looming over since Dark Crisis, was it?
Yeah, I mean, at least I tried, And Superman's a good place for a mini event. So is Batman. Remember, like, Batman had all those great mini events like Cataclysm and No Man's Land and Bruce Wayne Fugitive. And because when you have the Bat family, you have that power to cross over and tell a decent story using all the people in that little mini universe. I like that. But yeah, so sorry. House of Brainiac, I'm off the sauce.
I don't know. It's like the best thing they've done since Rebirth, though. Well, I don't know. Is it better than World Saga, Dylan? I guess that's the big question.
Ooh.
No, I definitely like World Saga better. I thought World Saga was much better. I'm enjoying House of Brainiac, but I think World Saga was much more solid.
There you go. Jose B says, "Tell me why Brainiac Queen gave me Alien Queen chills."
Good call.
I know.
Exactly, I felt that too.
About. Yeah. Very much so.
Did it make you funny in your pants?
No, I mean the Alien Queen is just a big fat xenomorph that's also like got some lady in her. You don't remember that, Doc?
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did it make you feel funny in your pants?
Not particularly. That's why I was wondering.
I would love it if Doc said yes. If Doc was like, yeah, when I saw Alien, I was like, wait a minute.
Time to mount up.
A new challenge.
Talk about giving brain.
Nerd says, done by a competent writer, who do you think would win Amazo or Failsafe, Dylan? Who's got that one?
I mean, well, with how Failsafe is, Failsafe's the most unbeatable, bestest villain of all time, so it'd have to be Failsafe.
He took down the
Failsafe's just
Justice
the
League.
best. Yeah.
Superman suit on one-on-one. He took down the entire Batman family all by himself.
Yeah. With no struggles like at all. Failsafe is the most just the OP villain.
I'm
gonna say
it was pretty interesting in the beginning, though.
At first is all right, and then when Superman came in and everything happened, and then it kept going, I was like, okay, this is a bit much, and he's still around. I can't stand Failsafe.
Yeah. I mean, like Justice League Unlimited Amazo was kind of like God level. I mean, if you depends on which Amazo, because I would throw that at you.
I'm going to go with Amazo just because I think he's a more interesting creation than Failsafe is.
Far more interesting, yeah.
Just wait till you see what they do with the Amazo on Task Force 7. You might find him less interesting when he becomes every superhero in the entire universe.
Everybody gets ruined eventually, right? I mean, if you jump over to Marvel, you can read Miles Morales as every superhero in the Marvel universe, just not Spider-Man.
Yeah. When's the last time Deathstroke was a challenge? Nerd, here's a serious question. Do you think that Superman could have Eldritch horror story? The point of Superman is there's always another way. The point of Eldritch horror is all hope is lost.
See, that's really interesting thing. If the Kryptonian symbol for hope versus hopelessness.
I think there's a damn good story in there.
Yeah. That sounds decent, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what was happening on Warworld Saga, right? Where he was depowered and he was a war zone and he was being put into gladiatorial combat, waiting for him to die and whatever. And then his symbol kind of overcame that, and the people kind of rallied around him. It's not so much a horror story, though. It's more like Gladiator.
Well, it's interesting because Eldritch horror is also that includes magic, and there's a great weakness of Superman's. You know what I mean? I love Superman's weaknesses: kryptonite, magic, Lois. You know.
Yeah, send him to Apocalypse and have him tortured for 100 years. I don't know. Be good. Find a way out of that one. Is that a book you want to write, Aaron?
I would totally love to write that. That's just something that's like right in my wheelhouse, because at the end, hope wins. Superman finds a way. He doesn't break Zod's neck. He finds another way. Sorry, Zack Snyder. You suck.
Dr. Touchdown. Hey, y'all. I asked last time I was here, but there's some different people on this panel. So what is everyone's favorite comic book superhero? I know Wes's is Exo Manowar and Doc's is Wolverine.
Green Lantern.
Which one?
Well, the core, Hal Jordan, and just because it's you're a normal person or a normal being, typical, and you're given an opportunity with the ring, and it's about imagination and making. I've always been fascinated with that power set, but also with the yellow weakness back in the day, and about the 24-hour charge, and that it had limitations, and you were not a super being, you weren't a meta person, you're yourself, you're you, but you've just been given a Green Lantern ring. That's pretty cool. I think that's the coolest superpower. Plus, what Kyle Rayner said, I have the ability to split an atom with this, so it's pretty darn powerful.
So yours is Hal Jordan, huh?
Yeah, Hal Jordan's pretty much. Yeah, he's like, he was on the Super Friends as well. It was really cool. Always happy to see Green Lantern show up on Super Friends.
My favorite character on Super Friends was Apache Chief. Which
you're not
allowed to do anything with that character anymore. They just mind wiped him out of existence.
They kind of used a version of him. They kind of used a version of all of the what are called the affirmative action heroes from Super Friends. They did a version of them all on Young Justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun. I like that. That was an Easter egg. And then back in the days where those weren't member berries. Those were Easter eggs, and you found them if you knew your stuff. It was
like him beating the crap out of Giganta. She deserved it.
Did you see him on Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, when he spilled hot coffee in his lap and could no longer grow large?
Oh no.
No, I didn't see that.
That's funny.
All right, Aaron, who's your favorite superhero?
I mean, I think everybody knows, right? Steve Rogers, Captain America. No prevarication at all. Steve Rogers is my favorite superhero. Dr. Doom is my favorite villain.
That in a million years.
You wouldn't have? Really?
No, you're not patriotic. You don't have the chisel.
I am absolutely patriotic. I am absolutely patriotic, and there's a chiseled chin underneath this beard.
Oh,
hang on, let me just. It's like take it off like a Lego piece.
So where did you get into Captain America? We've never talked about this before. Thank you very much, Dr. Touchdown.
So I had read like various little bits and pieces of Captain America. Like I'd read the John Byrne arc, and I had somehow I had just stumbled into that 3-issue John Byrne arc, and I'd read some of the Roger Stern stuff. But where I really got into Cap and started collecting it regularly was Mark Gruenwald's run. When President fired Cap, and they went through that whole story of him, all the way up to 350, where he fights John Walker, and you got the Red Skull in his clone body, and then it keeps going, and you get Magneto versus the Red Skull during Acts of Vengeance. Like all of that run was just like huge for me. So for me, the only love interest for Cap is always Diamondback from the Serpent Society, and there's no other love interest that I accept.
So not Sharon Carter.
Nope.
Not Peggy Carter.
No, see, for me, Sharon Carter burned to death while working for the Grand Director, and then later Mark Waid brought her back. But yeah, no, she was always dead in my mind. I always loved Diamondback because I always loved here's the straightforward, the absolute apex of what a hero should be, and then here's the bad girl gone good. I always like that.
So I like Rick Remender a lot. I think he's a really good writer, but he's got a Captain America run to where he goes to like Dimension Z or something.
Yeah, I hated that.
Yeah, he ends up, I think, adopting like an alien as his son,
like Zemo's child or something. Was that Zemo's child or?
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking, I can't believe Rick Remender wrote something this bad.
Yeah, and then Sharon Carter gets trapped there, and when she comes out, she's like Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
self-insert or something, like an elderly, progressive woman in comics.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. It's like Remender's idea was that Cap's been around in the present time for a while now, so he's kind of acclimated. So what I need to do is I need to do something that makes him even more a man out of time, and send him to Dimension Z and introduce that terrible son character and Jet Black or whatever her name was, and yeah, none of it worked. And also the son character's name was Ian, and as you guys can probably imagine, I don't have a lot of love for people named Ian. One in particular.
And so Sharon Carter came out looking like a prune.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's right.
And they thought that would be like, hey, this will excite the readers.
Older women and trying to attract older women readers. The why-nots.
They try to do that.
Well, they're half of the readership, according to that Facebook poll, which is totally scientific.
Yeah. All right, Dylan, who's your favorite superhero?
Shocker, it's Superman. Superman's the best. He's obviously.
He's always been number one. Was he your
Yes.
intro to comic books?
He's always been number one, yeah. Because my mom used to take me and my siblings to the library, and the library I went to had like bins of donated floppies, and they had beanbag chairs. So when I was like 4 years old, I'd grab like a stack of those, go to the beanbags, and just read them while my siblings ran around, did whatever. And they had like Superman comics there, and I always thought Superman was the coolest. He's always like, I love the idea of, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, except with Superman, because he was raised right by the Kents. I think that's cool that you have this guy that can do anything, be anything, but then he chooses to be a reporter and be a hero that helps people. And then of course he has the sickest powers, which that's something that pisses me off about Superman fans. Superman fans are almost always afraid to say they like his powers. It's always like, no, the character of Clark is why I like him, which obviously that's great, but his powers are cool too, and that's half of what's cool about Superman.
I say that Clark Kent is the hero and Superman is the power set. And he's got a great power set. He can do all kinds of good stuff.
Like when you take Clark away, you're left with Homelander. You know what I mean? Something, it's all. I think everything is all on Clark. Yeah, agree.
Was there a particular writer or artist on those Superman books that was really the one that got you?
Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness were a big one. Those guys were like, that was like a lot of when I first started getting into Superman was Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness, seeing them two on there. I was like, this is so cool, and seeing everything. Nice. Of course, they had like the sensational covers too, like something like you'd have Lois Lane just punching Superman in the face, like, what's going on with this? I gotta check this out. And that was always cool. That was a big for me.
That Ed McGuinness art I feel is stronger than what we got this week in Amazing Spider-Man 50, and I think Dexter Vines had a lot to, the anchor had a lot to do with like those Superman Batman books from then that Loeb and McGinnis smashed. Oh gosh, those were great books, man.
I think Public Enemies is the best Ed McGinnis has ever been. Superman Batman Public Enemies, I think, is like his peak. He kills it on there. It's so good.
They did a whole action figure line based on that run too, and just every one of those figures is cool.
I had the deluxe edition of Superman Batman Public Enemies. Came with a Batman Superman action figure. I had them standing up. Their arms fell off though.
Because they had the cheap DC Direct joints that like would break over time.
Yeah, I literally just had them like standing on my shelf, and their arms just fell off. But, yeah, I had those. They looked cool though. They looked just like the art.
So what's your favorite Superman story? I think I know the answer, but
Superman Up and Away. Jeff Johns, Kurt Busiek.
Nice.
It's so good because that's it's right after Infinite Crisis. He doesn't have his powers, so he's being full Clark Kent mode, and then in the end he's got to take on Lex Luthor. There's a cool little bit where Hal and the Green Lantern's like, "Hey man, you can come back and be a superhero. We can give you a Green Lantern ring." He's like, "No, I don't need that." It's so good. It's so in the moment where he starts getting his powers back, where he saves Jimmy, is great when he grabs the bullet. Oh, it's so good.
Absolutely fantastic. And the Toy Maker has never been better.
Yeah, Toy Maker was great. That whole
I like it when they were playing like Operation with a real person.
Oh,
it was a good one. What's your favorite Captain America story, Aaron?
Well, I like some of the adventure ones that they did, like, where they kind of got away. Like, there's just been so many good ones, but I like when they did like little self-contained miniseries, like the Bloodstone Hunt was really fun. It was like an Indiana Jones style adventure with Cap and Diamondback. I really enjoyed that. My favorite single story in a Captain America issue is not about Captain America at all. It's the Magneto versus Red Skull issue. I love that issue. Just the the fact that when I was reading Acts of Vengeance and I was like, why would Magneto be on this team with the Red Skull sitting right there at the table and not be trying to murder him? And then Mark Gruenwald asked the same question and then made that happen. And that was amazing.
Very nice. Finally, Eric, what's your favorite Hal Jordan Green Lantern story?
I'm old school, so I'm going with Emerald Dawns 1 and 2, which was the Hal Jordan Year 1 book from the late 1980s. And was really good.
Emerald Twilight?
Yeah, Emerald Twilight. Thank you. It was like I was a lot of beer in between the 1980s and now. So, and that's when I was picking those up in floppies in middle school and in high school. So,
very nice. So hopefully, if you haven't read those, go check them out. We got a hand up from Aaron.
I want to change my answer. I remembered what my favorite Cap story is. It's and it's not, I'm not going to say that it's like the greatest story about Captain America ever written, but it's just one that I really, really love and I reread all the time, which is Streets of Poison. It's got everything that, a young comic fan wanted. It had Red Skull versus Kingpin. It had Crossbones versus Bullseye. It had Bullseye versus Cap. It had Cap versus Daredevil. Diamondback versus Black Widow. It was just an absolutely crazy story. Cap's in a warehouse explosion, and he actually ingests this new synthetic drug that the Red Skull's pumping out onto the streets, and it bonds with the super soldier serum, and he doesn't realize it. And he's not sleeping. He's getting all strung out, and he's obsessed with getting this stuff off the streets, and is just becoming increasingly erratic. And it's really good. And then eventually they have to do a blood transfusion. Totally takes the super soldier serum out of him, so he's just a regular man. And the question is whether or not he can still be Captain America. And he has to fight Crossbones at the end with no super soldier serum. And he triumphs.
And is that the one where they turn him into the NFL Super Pro?
No, that came towards the end of Gruenwald's run when Gruenwald was dying of cancer. And so he kind of like did the same thing with Cap, where he had Cap dying, from the being poisoned by, the super soldier serum and everything that was going on with him. And then he got the stupid armor that was, by that point they'd lost Ron Lim, they'd lost Kieran Dwyer on art. So, those issues aren't as celebrated, but still not the worst thing.
Common Sense says, I pre-ordered Superman by Kurt Busiek. It has Superman's secret identity. Dylan, do you think Sam Humphrey's Dial H is a good love letter to Superman comics?
I have not read Dial H, so I can't say. But I do enjoy Kurt Busiek's Superman. I think he did some really cool stuff. Superman, another underrated Superman story by him is Camelot Falls. Camelot Falls is so good, which is another, not Eldritch horror, but it is one of those things where Superman's just against hopelessness. This sort of deity comes in, and it was like, hey, Superman. Well, not just deity. This other guy comes in from Atlantis, It's like, hey, Superman, if you keep saving people, like the world's going to end because it's like deity's going to come in and like destroy everything. Bad things going to happen. Superman has to grapple with like, does he keep saving humanity or not? And it's really cool. And we get some like post-apocalyptic stuff with Lois and Jimmy and Luthor trying to survive after Superman's gone, and it deals with time travel, and it's really good. Camelot Falls, it got I think like a deluxe edition last year. It's really good. So if that, I don't know if that's in that Superman by Kurt Busiek collection. It should be. Camelot Falls is severely underrated.
Secret Identity, that's the weird kind of Elseworlds book where like a guy grows up, his name is Clark Kent.
Yep.
And he's heard of Superman and he becomes Superman.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like Superboy Prime.
Yeah.
But what if
that's
that's
a good
like
story?
What if
Not being
Superboy
really
Prime
Superman.
had a happily ever after? It's like a big theory out there.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But you can't get Superman up and away like collected anymore. Like they haven't put it in print in so long.
No, I luckily got the trade forever ago, so I have the trade. But yeah, I don't know why they haven't re-released it with like a deluxe edition or something. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's so
definitely
good.
Get that one. Wraith X7 Streets of Poison also has beautiful Ron Lim art.
It does. Some of the best, and he was I can't remember who was inking him at the time, but it's the best. The best I think his art has ever looked.
Very nice. Chuck says Cap is my favorite hero, and my favorite Cap story is where he kills Baron Blood. John Byrne was cooking.
Is Baron Blood back during this terrible Blood Hunt storyline they're doing?
Yes.
Well, at least there's that.
He's the leader of the vampire Nazis that are coming to get Manhattan.
See, I would be excited about like an idea like that if it wasn't being written by current Marvel writers. So I know it's just going to be like.
At least Jed McKay's handling that himself, and it seems so in Blood Hunt, in his own Avengers too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think,
as long as it doesn't get farmed out to any of the hacks.
Exactly.
I thought Cap wasn't supposed to kill Aaron. What the heck?
Oh, vampires don't count.
Yeah,
take that head right off with the shield, man.
So you consider vampires to be kind of like zombies? As soon as they turn, they're no longer alive or human?
They're undead.
Undead.
They are an abomination.
There you go. So you're okay with killing Baron Blood and Morbius and all those people?
Oh, Morbius is a living vampire. You know, we gotta start splitting hairs.
Oh.
I'm saying the undead gotta go. That's my stance.
Dr. Touchdown, what's your favorite Exo Manowar story? And Doc, what's your favorite Wolverine story? You want to go first, Doc?
I think I'm gonna probably go with Barry Windsor Smith's
Weapon X?
Yeah.
Marvel
I
Comics.
think it's
Presents,
fabulous. What was that originally in it? It was in
Marvel Comics
Presents.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics Presents, yeah. It was 12 issues.
Yeah, it came up over a year.
No. Marvel Comics Presents was a weekly book.
Okay, so it came out over 3 months.
Yeah.
This shit's so good, though.
Mm-hmm.
One of the prettiest.
You get that iconic weird mask and all the weird stuff all over him. He's like naked all the time.
Yeah,
Just going
because
out and
he's
murder
literally kind of, he's a full-on basically animal at that point because his brain is so fucked up. Because that helmet was designed to input the new memory implants that they were doing, and it's like a computer that where you're installing a new operating system and all kinds of new software, and then it breaks halfway through, but you didn't do a full format. You couldn't clear out the old stuff, and nothing
Those
works.
fragments of stuff.
All kinds of bits and pieces. Not sure what's real, what's not real, what's implants, what's blank, because some of it got deleted out while it was trying to install the new operating system. All that shit, all kinds of fucked up.
Very nice. My favorite Exo Manowar story is Exo Manowar 1 through 14 by Robert Venditti. Kerry Nord, I think, is the artist for most of that. But it's basically a retelling or a reconfiguration of the Exodus story from the Bible, to where Exo Manowar is Visigoth people. Some of them are taken to space by the Vine, and they're there for years. But he eventually gets himself the Shanhara army and is able to directly confront the Vine and then get his people back to Earth. And when he arrives and he's trying to find like their homeland, he's like, "What the hell is this Italy thing?" or whatever. It's actually pretty good. They're like trying to kill him and stuff. That thing is absolutely fantastic. I really like Armor Hunters too as well. That's another Exo Manowar centric event that they did with Robert Venditti. But Armor Hunters is really, really cool, where you learn a lot more about Shanhara and where it came from, and that it might not be the blessing that everyone has been making it out to be. So those are kind of the two big ones, but certainly the first one, it encompasses the first three trades really of Exo Manowar with the Valiant relaunch in the early 2010s, I guess. But that's definitely my favorite. And thanks for the questions, man. I love talking about our favorite stories. It was fun. Speaking of favorite stories, we got into a little bit, but the Rook Exodus from Gary from Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok has been fantastic. We haven't seen these guys together, Dylan, since obviously they did Batman, the Three Jokers.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that DC would let an artist like Jason Fabok get away from him, because the talent is just so amazing on this.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. It's so good, everything he's done, and Rook looks so good. And this universe is great, like how they're fleshing it out and learning more and more. It's been so much fun.
Aaron, did you get to read the issue that I sent over to you?
I did. It's absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to go pick up the physical copy.
What did you think about that snapping turtle? It blew my mind.
So cool. It's so cool. Like, this is why, like, I'm really surprised that more people aren't talking about Ghost Machine, because they're doing, we keep saying like we want something different. We want something different. It's like we want our traditional heroes to stay our traditional heroes, but we want some new innovations and things like that. And this is why Marvel and DC are dying, is because the guys that would bring them new innovations, there's no incentive to do so at Marvel or DC. So you get something like Ghost Machine, where they get to go out and they get to create these new concepts, and they get to create these new characters and this whole new world, and do like really kind of like exciting and interesting things. It's absolutely fabulous. And you're totally right, Dylan. The fact, and Wes, the fact that they let Jason Fabok go, that Jim Lee has let all of this talent just slip through DC's fingers, and it's unbelievable. He will go down in history as the man who destroyed DC. That will be his ultimate legacy.
Because Jason Fabok and Jeff Johns had a plan to do Batman 3 Jokers Part 2, a sequel to a book that was selling over 150,000 copies an issue. And DC literally would not return his phone calls. And me personally, I'm happy that they're doing Rook Exodus, because it is something different. Now, I imagine they would be getting paid better, on that Batman book or whatever. But yeah, it's ludicrous. It's insane not to want these guys to continue working on. But I guess their stupidity is our gate, Eric, because we get something actually that's really, really cool. The concept of Wardens, I think, is pretty interesting. I love the design of Swine. Like, he's just so badass looking.
Everything looks badass in this book. Those giant bears, everything looks so cool. Everything just looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking
the bears
earlier
with the things on them, with the cockpits.
Yeah,
the guys are like driving them.
Yeah, it's sick.
I was talking earlier about bad lettering in a comic book. This has good lettering. You know what I mean? This has really decent onomatopoeia for, the digital age. I mean, this is quality stuff. The art in this is so impressive. That's what Jason Fabok is what's getting my dollar. Literally, I'm buying this. I'm not buying Redcoat. I'm not buying Geiger, but I am buying this. And I just, because the art is what sells me on this. And what Aaron was saying too, this is exactly what we asked for. We've been asking for this. New properties, new characters, new stories to unfold, new worlds to build, and bring it on, please. And this is what happens when talent makes talent. You know what I mean? Talented stuff, rather. They're all A's, and they all hire each other, and they're giving us what we have craving and we were asking for. Top shelf stuff, please.
Yeah, go support Ghost Machine, guys. If you love comics, go pick some of those books up and find the ones you like, because they're offering a lot of really cool stuff. Yeah,
I mean, I'm like Geiger's pretty good, Redcoat's pretty good. But what's getting, I don't have all the room in the world. I can't buy every comic book out there, but you know what?
You can sacrifice Power Girl for this. You can do
You
it.
know what, Sully? You sound like a quitter. I want you to get out there, and I want you to buy every comic book out there. That's what I want. You set the bar
to your library, so some kid can sit there in a beanbag when he's 4 years old and get it.
Yeah. And I like Dylan. He's like the torch has been passed to the youngins, man. I love it. This is great. He's proof that this works.
Don't just give the crap to libraries, though. Can you imagine if young Dylan, like the young Dylan of today, wandered into a library and he's like, "Oh, cool, comic books," and he pulled out Welcome to Smallville or some Mark Russell work and sat down in that beanbag. It was just like,
no, that's where you become cool. You're like, "Psst, kid, this is Frank Miller."
So Sparrow, it's hinted at in this second issue that there are more wardens out there. We met the Bear Warden, the Crow Warden, the Pig Warden, and the Wolf Warden. Are you excited for a Sparrow Warden?
No, I want a bearded dragon warden. That's what I want.
You want a lizard warden?
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Like an enormous Komodo dragon or something.
That'd be super cool. Like, this is the kind of stuff that fires kids' imaginations, man. You give a kid a comic book like Rook Exodus, and they're going to be hooked.
Yeah. Well, even a big kid like you, can you imagine an action figure of that swine character? Or
I want action. I want action figures of all this stuff. That's really the highest compliment that I can give, is when I read a comic book and there's characters in it that I'm like, man, I wish I had a 3D representation of this kick-ass character. That's the best. So I hope, it's like, I hope everybody supports Ghost Machine. I wish them all the success. I hope that Todd McFarlane contacts them and starts doing their merch as well. Let's just, let's blow this up.
Did you get to read the other Ghost Machine books? What were your thoughts on Geiger and Redcoat, Aaron?
Well, I mean, I've read Geiger since it came out, and I kind of lost interest in it. Redcoat, it hasn't hooked me yet. I mean, I'm going to give it a couple more issues. It is getting kind of like funnier, which I kind of like. I think there's like a sense of humor. Yeah, there's a sense of humor that's kind of like bleeding into it. So if it continues to lean in that direction, I think I'll appreciate it more.
Yeah, when Albert Einstein's like, "We need to run," and then he looks over his shoulder and he's already leaping over the fence and he's left him behind. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah,
you need that. You need some levity in your books.
Yeah, I mean, even it says on like the tagline, "kind of a tool." It's not supposed to be the world's greatest hero.
That's right. It tells you what you're going to get.
I kind of like the Benedict Arnold thing as the opposite of him. Someone that used his immortality to become like super duper rich and prosperous and influential. And this dude's just kind of like a vagabond trying to not have any responsibility whatsoever.
Yeah, it's kind of like an interesting dichotomy. I'm sorry, Dylan, go ahead.
I was saying, I like that, like, in it, he establishes, like, I'm the worst at everything, but I've been doing it for so long that I've become decent at a few things. Like, he didn't know how to, like, load a musket or shoot a gun or anything, and now he's just like, it's like, I'm okay now because I've done it for, like, a few hundred years, but...
Yeah, the reason he survived the war that he was in is because as soon as shots were fired, he ran.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's gotten better over time, but I think Redcoat's going to have to grow on me a little bit more. But, obviously with the Brian Hitch art, it certainly helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one thing that they haven't skipped on any of this stuff is, you get Gary Frank on Geiger, Brian Hitch on Redcoat, and then Jason Fabok on Rook Exodus.
We need Dan Mora to move over.
Oh, that would be great. Are you looking forward to the Peter J. Tomasi all ages books, Dylan?
I mean, just because I like Tomasi, what I've seen so far hasn't really interested me that much, but it's Tomasi, so I'll check it out. But yeah, so far it hasn't, like, I'm not super excited for it, no.
It's like there's one family from the future that's in the past, right?
Yeah. And
then there's like a kid from heaven and a kid from hell that are switched over, being raised by angels, and one's being raised by demons. Is there like some type of like truce offering or something?
Oh, so it's Mr. Miracle.
Fourth World, yeah.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's supposed to be more kid-friendly, Doc. I don't think it's supposed to be like torturous and stuff like that. Doc, have we gotten you excited enough to give Rook Exodus a shot?
No.
Oh, jeez. This guy. If it was Wolverine Rook Exodus.
I mean, look, the story doesn't sound bad, but I'm not invested in any of these characters. I'm too old to really get invested into new characters, especially when or I'm too jaded to, because I'm okay, fine. Look,
there was a time you weren't invested in Wildstorm.
No, you are correct. I was also like 13.
And he got burned. He got burned with his Wildstorm fandom.
I got burned by my Wildstorm fandom. I got burned by my X-Men fandom. When the things that I've enjoyed, I mean, look, and even like getting hyped on Skybound, Energon universe. Great. And now we hired Kelly Thompson. Oh, fuck me. Like, you're doing the exact same shit. Like, it doesn't matter how hyped I get. Yeah, it doesn't matter how hyped I get about something. It's just absolute. I am so black-pilled by the industry. I'm literally just counting the seconds until every successful thing, every successful person, every successful publishing initiative shoots itself square in the dick. Like, literally just decides, oh, you know what? Hey, look, this gun that I've been hitting the target with, would be a really good place to aim it, right at my fucking groin. Like, that's
you're getting Tom King revitalizing Jenny Sparks.
I'm getting fucking Tom King on Jenny Sparks. Tom fucking King.
Doc's just been hurt too many times, guys. F's in the chat for Doc's heart.
Yeah, he can't commit anymore.
No, I'm done. Like, and that's the sad part, because all of these people, it was all absolutely 100% unforced fucking errors by this comics industry, and it doesn't matter how good Ghost Machine is. It doesn't seem to have any fucking cohesion at all at this point. Not a goddamn clue.
Redcoat are in the same universe.
Okay, so you got two books that are, some that aren't, some that are in the future, some that are in the past, some that have no fucking connection whatsoever. No, look, this is, Wildstorm did this same shit, and it was part of their undoing, which is where they used to differentiate Wildstorm's signature series. That meant not the universe. And then Wildstorm universe titles. And it was very fucking clear. And then they decided, oh, you know what? That's confusing to people. I don't know. The fact that you're able to differentiate whether or not the book that you're buying is connected to the other book you're buying is probably a pretty good indicator for readers. But then they decided to just get rid of all of that, and now suddenly fucking Robotech books had the exact same banner as Wildcats, and nobody knew what the fuck was. Like, we're sitting there going, wait, is Robotech, did they just merge it into the Wild? Nope. No connection whatsoever. So these 7 books over here are part of the universe, but these ones over here aren't. No. Give me some clear fucking. I don't want to have to go into a publisher and look. This is directly to you, Ghost Machine. I will not go into a publisher that claims to have interconnected books when some are and some aren't. Fuck you. Differentiate it before you get me to put a penny in your pocket.
Unleash the beast. This is what Rhaegar Targaryen says. Doc will start a band and write songs about his comic book breakups. They will become instant hits and outsell Taylor Swift.
Well, I see. Unlike Taylor, I stopped just continuously dating the wrong comic book.
Yeah, but you just stopped like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was because you know what? For the first 25, 26 of those 35 years, they didn't fuck me daily.
All right, buddy. Rook Exodus. Don't believe what Doc's saying. Is really good. You should definitely go check that one out. Let's get into some comic book recommendations and what people should be reading this week. Dylan, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a good time here today. We've got the channel going, the Twitch, but you're taking a little break while the real world takes over right now.
Yeah, but I'm getting back to it. I should have stuff coming up soon, so check out the channel if you.
Are you still doing the podcast?
yeah, still doing the podcast when I have time to talk about movies and stuff with my brother. So that's fun if you're looking for a time killer. But yeah, check out the channel. Talk about random things.
Very nice. You recommend any books?
Yeah, the 3 of them that we talked about. Well, one we didn't really get to, but Cobra Commander. I'd say Cobra Commander number 5. Check that out. I'd say Superman number 14. I'm enjoying House of Brainiac. It's worth checking out. And Rook Exodus. Check out Rook Exodus as we just talked about. And no matter what age, you can still get invested in a character. You don't have to stunt yourself. So I'd say check out Rook Exodus. It's great.
Absolutely.
But you
can. There's that option.
Next up, Eric, you got a bag of funny books. You recommend any of those bad boys?
I have a bag of funny books. Yeah, I'm going to recommend some comic books. Some of these are from my pull list, and some of these are from the shelf. Let's see. Great. The Eisner Award nominated local man. I know Eisner Award. It's whatever. But still, I'm rooting for this. This is one of the best suggestions I got from being tuned into this show and being on, as you all, was Local Man. And this is a fun book. New
Is
issue.
that a Yule Carter recommendation?
It might be.
It smells like a Yule Carter recommendation.
He's got good taste in funny books. He knows what I like. I shop from him often. I got Brainiac, House of Brainiac 4 here on Superman 14. This is in my pull list, and it was a decent issue. I got Man's Best from Boom Studios, number 3. That's pretty good. Cobra Commander 5, and wraps this up. I got Rook Exodus number 2. This is really good stuff. Hellblazer, Dead in America, issue 5. This one's interesting. It's a bit like an anthology story. There's like 5 different mini tales in here, but there's a lot of good art. And for any fans of the classic Hellblazer, this is as close as you're ever going to get to the old Vertigo days. And check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this is
the Red Band edition.
This is the Red Band edition, number 2, and an unopened poly bag. You
can't open that.
You are the problem with the comic book.
Don't even look at it. Don't even breathe on it.
You are the problem with the comic book industry right now.
Dude.
Interior variants should be shunned and thrown right into the wood chipper.
I wanted to be part of that. I wish
you got to buy 2 copies, one to open and read and one to keep as a collection.
Oh, wait until they start doing the Red Band 1 in 25.
They already have. There is a variant cover for this. Yeah, and I wanted that.
I'm waiting until they're doing the exact same variant cover on the regular 1 in 25 as the Red Band 1 in 25. So now you got to buy 4 fucking comic books.
Yeah, but yeah, those
instead
are
of just 2.
But yeah, though, that's my stack of funny books. I spent about $30 at my local comic book shop this week, and I go there every Wednesday, and I buy new books, and I help keep open an independent bookstore. Our local comic book shops, they're important to our culture. So get out there and go and visit your local comic book shop and spend some money there. I bet you need boards and bags and boxes, so pick them up too while you're there. Amen.
But
there's a lot of things
with
comic books.
Not Red Band, never Red Band, never interior variants.
You covet my Red Band. This is scarcity. This is gonna make a bundle like my poly bagged Superman.
Yeah, that's Superman 75. How's that going working for you?
It's eternally $10, right?
Yeah.
And open it up and look at the damage that the poly bag has done to the cover over time.
I have no idea.
All right, Sparrow, you recommend any funny books?
Well, there's the ones we talked about this week, of course. So I'm going to recommend all of those. I'm also going to recommend that you guys check out. It's in its final week. It's last time I looked, which was the other day, it was about halfway to its goal. So it is struggling a little bit. But go check out Battle Chronicle Soul Striker by Ken Marion. That book looks amazing. It's got colors by Andrew Dalhouse. It just looks like everything that we've been asking. It's just like, asking for. It's like a nice little blend of 90s comics with some manga sensibilities and just kick-ass art, action, just unbelievable stuff. So go check that out. And if you guys are so inclined and you haven't already, please sign up for updates on Kneel Before Doomface at kneelbeforedoomface@gmail.com. Going to have a lot of cool reveals coming up in the weeks ahead as we gear towards the end of June hopeful launch date.
And you're going to do that cover in like blacklight, right?
Oh, you know what? It's been requested that we do like blacklight posters of the Kenneth Rogafor cover. We're looking at like different ways to deliver it. I might do like a limited release metal variant cover. Just some really cool stuff that we're talking about to make the campaign really special.
Very nice. And anything else people need to know? You're going to be making any appearances this week? I know you like to jump around a little bit.
I'm a YouTube gadabout, but nothing booked so far this week aside from my normal appearances on Max's Man Cave, Coolest Geeks Alive with Jesse Snyder, and Pop by Culture with our good friend Josh McDonald.
Very nice. Last but not least, Doc is broken, but he's still here with us. And he's probably got some comic books to talk about.
I do. Obviously, absolutely nothing published in, well, probably this decade. But so we're going to go with a book that I absolutely love. And you would like this, Wes. You would also like this, Dylan. So Majestic, obviously, with the Superman #1
homage.
cover homage.
No, I'm not invested in Majestic, so I don't know if I can read that.
I know, right? You don't have to. It's fine. I don't care. But Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, Carl Kerschel on art. And this one was set in the DC universe. This is when Majestic is stuck over in the DCU. And it's got a lot of Superman and the Eradicator in it as well. So I think you'd probably like it. Not because of Majestic, but because of Superman. Then we will go with I'm still waiting on my
Mark
Ultimate
Waid,
Sport.
love it.
Woo-wee.
Yeah, I know. Fuck that.
Gotcha.
No, this is the J. Scott Campbell. That's the only reason I give a fuck about this. You have no idea how much of a dilemma I was placed in on whether or not to shred this fucking comic book, because I love J. Scott Campbell and I love pissing off weirdos on the internet that feel like they need to fix his art because where are organs? Boobs are organs, bitch.
I can find you a bunch of Instagram models in like 30 seconds that have that MJ's exact proportions from that.
Yeah,
cover.
exactly. But so yeah, everything about this, it was a major dilemma, and I was kind of racked with questioning myself on whether or not to throw this thing into the wood chipper because fuck Mark Waid. And but J. Scott Campbell wins. J. Scott Campbell and pushing this comic to piss off oversensitive pussies on the internet. That wins. Plus, Mark Waid doesn't get any fucking money from this one.
Bravo.
Then we have to go the other direction. And this one's for Yule, because I know how much he loves Black Cat. And, that's also really hot. And I haven't gotten my Ultimate Spider-Man 4 J. Scott Campbell variant set yet, damn it. Come on, dude, where is it? And then finally, since we talked about it earlier, the Marvel Comics Presents 72, the first part of the Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X story. This is a great, great book. The story is amazing. The art is phenomenal. But so, yeah. This is a book that has weirdly started spiking in value again. But it's beautiful. So go find a copy, or you can get the first. It's also in the first Wolverine omnibus. So that's it for me this week.
Well, very nice. I hope everyone has a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Have a good time. Have some barbecue, a couple beers. Thank the people that have sacrificed so we could all have our freedom. And we'll see you next week right here on Thinking Critical YouTube.
Don't get stabbed by hobos, anybody.